Find a spot around the fireplace, you goons. It's time for another tale of Casual Master Quest.
Aloha, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of the Casual Master Quest. I am your host, Tyler Vidito, and this is episode number 14, the only podcast that has a member who regularly flexes through time to see what the sales number are like in the future. Hey, this is usually our beautiful player over here, Cam, who occasionally has this weird time flux moment. So how's it going, Cam? Are you living the dream?
Pretty good. I'm getting some predictions right now, actually. Those PS4 numbers. Over 1 million, 100 million. What?
Over 1 million? There's no way that can be right.
But anyway, yeah, doing wonderful.
Yes, welcome. Him and I are chilling in the guild. Don't worry, though, out from the shadows with a rose in each hand that are completely dethorned. Make sure he's all set. We got Nick. Nick, how's it going, my pal, my friend? Are you looking alive?
Good afternoon. Welcome to the guild.
Yeah,
Take
good
a seat
afternoon.
by the fire. Grab a drink.
Ooh,
Get comfortable for all the stories.
Nick is role playing. I like this.
It.
Man, is this what Nick at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time is like? Because
This is what we get.
This is morning Nick, fueled by sugar and lack of sleep.
oh man, like
No, well, actually, I got enough sleep. I slept 3 hours earlier than I usually did at 1:30.
yeah, we totally. Well, I don't know what you did afterwards, but we totally partied kind of late for us. Cam and I playing Fortnite together, but. You are a night owl. Once you get the taste of the nightlife, you go deep.
Yeah, and I don't even do anything. I just sit there on my computer, just going through Reddit for 3 hours.
Oh no!
Yep.
What my best friend does, where he doesn't want to go to sleep, but he doesn't know what he actually wants to do.
Pretty much.
He just goes for the tiny, like, little minuscule taste of like entertainment that he can find on Reddit. For me, that's
Or
Twitter.
like
But
munchies at 2 a.m. on YouTube. Right?
okay, fair enough. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, we are episode number 14. Again, Nick, Cam, Tyler. Cool. We are a team. We're going to make some great stuff happening. However, right in the very beginning, I'm going to give a wild warning because this is where we're going to implement Operation Nightclub.
Ooh.
Now, I've warned people as many times as I could. I could have probably put a separate, like, 5 megabyte podcast up just to say hello. Operation Nightclub is, for right now anyways, a one-time thing. I think I'm going to make it continued starting next week, but we got to see. Where the first hour of what people that are listening to us right now, and I'm gonna start the hour right now because I totes forgot. I can't believe I just said totes. Please stop me. I'm hurting myself.
Totes my goats.
Totes my goats. So 1 hour, everybody here that you're listening, you're gonna have good, clean fun. If you got children around, enjoy it because we're gonna have fun. We're gonna talk about video games. It's the favorite thing that you're here for. However, once an hour happens, and it will happen, people, we will reach that point. You're going to start hearing that sexy jazz music. It's going to reach for the specifically the audio listeners. You're not going to hear this in the video because we're not that cool. And then once the hour hits, proverbially hour, we're going to start to go into what is called nightclub mode. And we're going to go where things might not be safe for work. We might say some things that, might not say in front of our grandmother, so to speak. So if you're not into that, or if you got to wait until later, just know once you hear the saxophone music, pause. You're going to enjoy the rest of the stuff later. You're going to have a good, dirty humor, fun. You're going to enjoy yourselves. It's going to be a dark pleasure, so to speak. Don't worry. We'll be here for you for now. So that's the warning. That's my last warning for you guys. Good luck. Have fun. We're going to go straight into the Pokemon Go Watch proverbial minute. I'm going to use that word proverbial because we do love our Pokemon Go because things are going to be happening. Unfortunately, we are talking right now, specifically at 12:30 p.m. on Saturday, Eastern Standard Time, which means the special community event has not happened yet. However, we'll be talking, maybe preparation stuff that we've done in the meantime because, it's been a whole week. Things have been happening. So let's start the Pokemon Go minute. Cam, go right ahead. Have you been playing Pokemon Go this week? Okay, that's right. So
We've lost Cam.
I'm back.
Cam has gone into the future to get the numbers of Pokemon Go to see if the numbers are good. Cam, are the numbers good over in Pokemon Go?
Looking okay. They're not amazing, but they're passable, I would say.
To be fair, it's been out for 2 years and 2 months as of probably like a week ago, and they've hit over 800 million downloads. Yeah, like wowee. Now, to be fair, probably a lot of them are bots. I'm not gonna lie. And since then, they actually made about 1.8 billion. So it's not exactly Fortnite territory, but for for something that's really simple, that's a lot of money.
That's above Overwatch loot box money, because Overwatch loot box money, as of I think 6-7 months ago, was around 1 billion. So,
wow. Yeah, it's estimated that out of the 800 million downloads, 147 million people actively played Pokemon today. And out of the, I don't even know how many Pokemon there are total. Nick would know this more than anybody. Cam might too. But Pokemon Go actually only has 347 Pokemon released to catch right now. Yeah. So they got quite a ways to go. And they actually haven't gotten an award in quite a while. The last time they got an award was in 2017, dude. Like, you'd think, I know the hype died down, but really no one's been giving them much credit, but they still get the support.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is and we should honestly appreciate the game a lot more now, considering all the updates that have been added to it. Considering that it added the weather system, which I really, really like, raids, all the group stuff, the friend stuff. It's a good game now. It's a wonderful game now. The only thing I think we're really hurting for is the return of the footprint system, but we're never going to get it back. No, that was an early game, and I do miss it, though.
Very, very much. Now, I made a mistake. I tried calling out to you to see how you've been playing Pokemon Go, but you had actually gone searched forward months at a time to see what Pokemon Go is like. So that was my mistake, and I would like to apologize.
Yep. You should start with somebody else, because in some cases, right, I do have that flash a little bit, and I'll flash forward to the future and disappear for a while. So
it's interesting because I know that Nick has a similar ability, but he goes straight into the past. But Cam, you are a futuristic type person. Okay, can I catch you on the present right now? Or
you can. I'm all set.
Okay. With your blessing, great Pokemon Master.
Yes.
I would love to hear about your Pokemon Go experience.
Right. This week in Pokemon Go, a very impressive week.
Pokemaste.
I opened the app.
Oh.
Oof, that's it.
Oof. Oh.
I open the app every day.
I can confirm, because I've received quite a few gifts from you.
Not recently, you haven't, because recently I haven't been leaving my house because I haven't had work recently on contract. So I haven't actually been spinning stops or getting gifts. So I haven't actually given out gifts in a bit for people, and I feel bad about it. So I'm like,
I feel it. So you haven't gotten too much. Have you gotten prepped up? Are you going to be doing the Eevee event this weekend?
Man, like I said before, it feels like the events come actually every week. I swear it's like every weekend we're recording the podcast.
It feels like
it's a community day. Perfect. So no, because I got a party I got to go to later today, and I got to go ahead and prepare some stuff, do some household chores, maybe tomorrow, because it is a 2-day, which is really nice, and Sunday's a lot better. Nice. Sunday's a lot better for me to get out and do that. So I probably will. I'll at least catch some from my house. But the reason, how I'm far as I am in Pokemon Go, despite not going out and doing it so much, is because there's never been a day I haven't opened the app since launch. So I do play every day. It's just on a casual basis.
A casual Master Quest basis?
You could say that.
I could say that. I could say it. So, Pokemon Go over in Nick's world. I have a hunch. I might know what the answer is, but I could be wrong. Nick, are you going to prove me wrong today? Have you been playing any Pokemon Go?
This week, yes, I have. I've been getting out of the house a lot more. And I know because you've been, or at least you should know because you've been getting gifts daily.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I like to set up situations where if I am wrong, it benefits me as a person, as the group. So I'm okay with being humiliated for the sake of the masses. So that's okay. There's nothing wrong with being wrong, unless you're doing a Nick Switch Initiative challenge, which that's later. Don't worry. I got some good stuff for you. Yep. I know you studied, buddy. So catch anything good, guys? Anything wild? Because so far, not too much, but
I know I got my 7-day research task, so I got a Raikou from that, but I already have 9, so wasn't.
Oh, you have 9 of them?
Yeah.
I think I'm 2 stamps off from getting mine. No, I'm just excited for today. It's actually been really hot here in Vancouver. But today, for whatever reason, it wasn't forecasted. We've got rain.
Yeah, me too, actually.
And I'm really, really excited. So I'm going to go out.
Yeah, it's 77 here with rain. So coolest it's been in 3 weeks or something.
Nice. It's weird because it showed me I had a high of 86, but it's like, intermittent rainstorms. I'm looking at the radar. There's thunderstorms that are approximately 30 feet wide that are like peppered across Michigan. And so it's like, I'm not going to get hit by rain. If anything, like I'm more likely to, accidentally get sprayed by my sink than get rain today. So it's cool, but it stinks because my car doesn't have air conditioning. So I'm going to have fun. Yeah, I'm going to have windows down, I'll be chugging water, and I'm going to be catching Eevees with my Pokemon Go Plus.
It is 66 degrees for you American listeners.
Thank you.
Now.
Can I have some of that? Put some of that my way. Yikes.
66 down from 90 yesterday.
That's a drop.
Mercy. No kidding. Hoo-wee. So myself and I said this on the stream, but I realized the more I say this, the more passive aggressive I get. So I'd like to apologize in advance to my 2 team members. I've collected a lot of Pokeballs from stops and whatnot in preparation for the Eevee thing. So like, I've been catching sub Pokemon, and that's great. But for me, it's always been like building up more and more Pokeballs, and I'm afraid to use them as well as the Panap berries, because after the Squirtle event, I got over 1,000 candies for Squirtle, and that was, I was like, oh man, that was cool. But now I want to go even more for Eevee because I got 2 days.
Yep.
And so then my goal is to get like 1,200 or some crazy amount like that. That way I can just turn them all into random, evolutions, and then just cash them in for experience, and then immediately release them, because who cares about Eevee? Right?
Everybody.
Sure,
I think I have like 900 Eevee candies myself, just because they're really common in my neighborhood. So
really, I rarely see them.
Yeah.
It's nice because originally they were 10-kilometer eggs, but they bumped them down to 5-kilometer.
Yeah.
Because you're hoping for a Snorlax or a Lapras, and all of a sudden Eevee. Oh, wait.
Great, awesome, wonderful.
In my
I
mouth.
also have to think about. I don't know too much about CP caps or like what the meta Pokemon are in game for Pokemon Go for use of gym battles, but Eevees are better than Squirtles in that aspect, because I evolved a 400 CP Eevee into 2200 Jolteon.
Yeah, they're still very good for the raid metagame. They're not the best anymore. Like, Vaporeon used to be just the best in the gym battle game pre-raids, but these days, they still get up there, 25, 26, 2700. So still incredibly useful, some of the evolutions.
Absolutely. Like when I first played, which was the beginning of the game, the big thing that you would see in all the gyms, because we had a huge drowsy problem where drowsies would appear everywhere in our city, and we couldn't get rid of them. So the gyms would be nothing but Vaporeon and Hypnos. Oh. And it just stank because Hypnos weren't even that good, but because we would see like 5 of them to every 2 Pidgeys, they're everywhere.
Wow.
Thankfully they cut them down.
Yeah, my meta was Rhydon, Gyarados, Vaporeon in the gyms in my area.
Oh, that would have been nice, like something a little bit different, because ooh. And of course Dratini's, there was one night that I decided to stay up until like 2 a.m. in our local park before they started. They were really forceful with the rules, saying, "Hey, you can't be here past 10 p.m." But they let it slide because they knew what's happening after the police came, because they're like, "There's hundreds of people riding in the park." And it's like, no, they see a Dratini, and there was just that one time we're all walking around, all of a sudden somebody goes, "There's a Dratini!" It's like inflection and everything, and people just ran and flooded to this 10-foot square, and it's like, it was interesting. It was fun. But yes, got a lot of Pokeballs. I'm prepped up to catch a bunch of Eevees, turn them into evolutions, maybe keep a few, because Vaporeons, Jolteons, and Espeons and Umbreons, in particular to me anyways, are very good mechanical defenders and maybe attackers. So that was the Pokemon Go minute, unless anybody has any last things that they want to say.
I'm all good.
That was a long minute.
It was a very long minute. It gets stretched. Like I can stretch out the Pokemon Go song, just boom, 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 and back down. Also, I just want to point out there will be shiny Eevees out. So
yeah,
if you want a albino Eevee, they will be out there. So get hyped. Get hyped. Okay, so that was the Pokemon Go minute. Now we're going to be going into what you've been playing. Now, I always I got warned this time, so I'm going to pick this time. That way, in case he teleports, Nick, what have you been playing? Tell me all the new stuff you've been playing. Your clean palette.
I've actually not been playing anything new. Surprise, I know, shocker.
Really?
That goes well. Yeah, no, Destiny 2, Overwatch.
Oh, that's a new game that just came out recently, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Which one are we talking about, Overwatch or Destiny 2?
Destiny 2. Overwatch has been out for a few years, but Destiny 2, didn't that come out like this week?
Yeah, it came out this week. What are you talking about?
Yeah, with new DLC.
Yeah, actually, it's a brand new game by Bungie. They just felt like the 2 really went well with Destiny, so there was no sequel or prequel or anything. It was just a solo game they just released randomly.
Destiny was a beta, but it was a closed beta. No one actually got to play it besides Bungie members.
No, Destiny was like a freak brain love child of Hideo Kojima and whoever's in charge of Bungie, and so that's why it never actually existed.
And of course, everybody knows Bungie as the creators of Gears of War.
Right,
Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah.
And of course, it's
they partnered with
Sword.
They actually partnered with Ninja Theory to make Yoshi's Island.
Nice. I forgot about that.
That's a known fact. Yeah.
a lot of people falsely kind of mention it with Shigeru Miyamoto, but that is completely just a myth. In fact,
complete myth.
I can't keep this up.
Yeah, you're going for something. Yep.
I was gonna say, it's like I keep trying to make stuff up. We're gonna burn down real quick.
So Destiny.
That was back when. Sorry, that was back. Just to remember my years correctly, right? That was back in like 2006 or so when Phil Spencer, the president of Sony, was working on the Dreamcast.
Yeah. I feel like Cat could keep this up. I feel like he could very well keep this up.
Oh yeah,
for an hour easily.
I got grabs.
Yeah. Destiny 2. There's an expansion coming out September 4th. It's called Forsaken. It's gonna be good. I know I didn't say too much about it last episode. So what's been happening? They put out, as they did with Destiny 1, at the end of each year of Destiny, they do a big event. Where it was called Age of Triumphs, Moments of Triumphs. This time it's called Solstice of Heroes, where you complete different challenges all related to year one activities or the activities from that year, and you get certain points. And if you get up to a certain, I think you just have to get halfway up the threshold, which is not very difficult. Even for a casual player, you get a discount code for a T-shirt related to that year of Destiny.
Nice.
And
I believe that was inspired by Kevin Butler, actually.
Okay.
No, wait. You guys not know who Kevin Butler is?
I'm not very good.
No, we've talked about this before.
Okay,
you brought it up.
That's heartbreaking that you guys don't know Kevin Butler.
No, I've said we talked about this before. You brought it up.
Yeah, no, I'm just terrible with names.
Okay. Sorry. Hello, JK. Go ahead. Keep going.
So Destiny 2 had a lot of problems at launch. This is not a surprise. Lots of controversy, lots of issues.
Are you suggesting that this game originally came out not this week and it might have had some kind of issues going on?
Contrary to popular belief, Destiny 2 actually came out September 4th or September 5th, 2017 for the PS4 and the Xbox One, and then October 6th or October 14th for the PC, coming out through Blizzard Activision's partnership through the Battle.net launcher.
Which is a fantastic idea, by the way.
Fantastic idea. It helps with the cheating, the hacking, because of Blizzard's own security.
Right, and Valve doesn't get a huge amount of that money because I'm sure they get a good chunk out of it.
Yeah. And so there's just a lack of things to do, lack of replayability, lack of end game activities. You have your power level, which is what it's like you hit the level cap, so it goes straight from 1 to 25 currently, or 1 to 30, and then you have a power level, which is an aggregate score or an average of your gear, of your 3 weapons and of your 5 armor pieces, and it adds up to just like your power level and how you're going to do in all these other different activities. But that didn't really matter to a large extent in like the big raids at the end of the game that were part of endgame content. There was no reason to do any of the daily stuff because people would reach the level cap like really quick, get all the gear really quick. And so they made the game really like catering towards the casuals, which to a certain extent I can understand because you want to be able to keep everybody happy. But when everybody has, it's a weird saying, but when everybody's happy, nobody's happy. Yep. Especially when it comes to games, because then there's nothing for the hardcore players to do. And people used to hardcore grind in Destiny 1, even though it got really bad towards the end in terms of PvP and things being stale because there's no new content for 6 months. They removed random rolls from weapons, so it made no sense grinding out any kind of weapon because there were always static rolls and the weapon pool was limited as it is. They removed private matches for the PvP, which was included in Destiny 1, but removed from Destiny 2, a sequel game, as a feature.
I was going to ask, about how much time do you think you spent this week playing Destiny 2?
This week, not so much because I've been busy with final exams, but ever since Destiny 2 launched, I've put about 300 hours into Destiny 2, which is not a lot compared to Destiny 1, where I was up to about 1,200 hours.
All right, fair enough.
And so, with the launch of Forsaken, they're releasing a bunch of quality of life updates. They're changing the weapon system, which they just changed it and went it all to hell in Destiny 2 at the start of it. It just made it really boring, really stale to play. At the very core core of it, gameplay is fantastic. Gunplay is amazing. It feels good, really crisp, really snappy. But the weapon slot system they changed from D1 just didn't work out.
So in regards, just really quick, in regards to it being an expansion of Destiny 2, if you were to compare it to a Destiny 1 expansion, which one would this be? Would this be like the complete overhaul that the later ones were, or what one would you equate it to?
The Taken King, which came out in year 2 of Destiny, and that basically changed everything and fixed the game. So that Taken King year was the best year. That's when all the content creators really hit their like stride and went through their golden age. That's when there's one creator in particular who quoted a couple of days ago saying, "Because of Taken King, I ate steak every night." I played then as well. So the content was fantastic then. This is what it's going to be like, and so we're all hopeful. They've been showcasing a bunch of stuff. There was a combat reveal stream earlier this week, actually, and so we're all cautiously optimistic. But just seeing what they've already done so far, it's enough for everybody to get excited.
Fair enough. That was Destiny 2. You also said you played some Overwatch and maybe another game.
Yeah, so Overwatch has been my staple since it released.
What's your favorite character to play as? I always ask and I always forget.
It's hard because
that's why I forget, to be honest. Then
thinking of competitive, I played and I started filling because I solo queue. I still do a lot, and so I became a support main. I became a Mercy main just because people don't like to heal or don't want to heal, and so I have to be like, all right, I'll heal. Just play whatever you want. I'll keep you alive, and I don't usually pretend or like to act cocky, but I'm a pretty damn good Mercy. And then I started branching out because Mercy was getting a little stale then. I really enjoyed playing Mercy. Like it became like I hated playing Mercy. Then I really because I played her so much, I really enjoy playing Mercy now. I think I have over 50 hours in Mercy, and that's not a lot. But I have, then the next character over I have 30 hours, and then the next character over 20 hours. So I have a lot of hours over a bunch of characters. So I'd go Mercy. I love playing Ana. I enjoy playing Moira. So I became a healer main now because
That's good. Support mains. Respect support mains. I'm one as well. So.
And I'm also like a flex tank main. Like I can play D.Va, I can play Ryan, and I can play Soldier in rare cases. But this is always, of course, competitive. If I'm talking about like the competitive scenario, if I'm playing quick play, if I'm just messing around, I love playing the snipers. Hanzo and Widowmaker are my favorite characters of any game ever.
No, thank you. Like as much as I somehow fictitiously say that I'm good as a sniper. You will not catch me willingly playing with a sniper where people can see my work, because I get really like, it's kind of like that scene from Wonder Woman where you got the guy that needs to take the shot to take out the sniper, but his hands are so shaking, even though he's supposed to be the hot shot. That's me. Like it's like I might have thought that was good at one point, but when it comes down the line, then no, I get nervous real quick, and it's like, nope, okay, I was wrong. I admit it. I'm gone. I'm a fraud. Peace. Nope. No snipey.
Yeah, no, I understand that. And then Fortnite with friends.
Really? Cool.
We actually played Fortnite yesterday.
Congratulations.
Or Friday evening for listeners on Monday.
People that play Fortnite are actually, I don't know where I was going to go with that, because it's like, okay, so yes, we all played Fortnite together yesterday. And as Cam pointed out at one point, once you admit that you play Fortnite to some people, suddenly they start coming out of the woodwork like, oh yeah, actually I play Fortnite too. I just didn't want to talk about it because people are starting to, shame each other. The very loud minority, as it turns out, that haven't played Fortnite, that don't like it, or they have played and they don't like it, talk so much about it, how much they dislike it, that people who do play it and never said it before, they're nervous about mentioning it. And yes, we like Fortnite. And actually, I started learning how to play good yesterday, and that was my favorite part, because I realized someone told me this, and I don't know, it might have been in the stream, it might have been the article, it might have been anything. You much would rather try to miss aiming at the head than trying to successfully hit at the body, because the head hits and crits so hard that it means so much more in that moment. And so there was a point where I actually turned awesome for a second, because I remembered this advice as I came falling on the ground with a shotgun, and then I tried aiming at the head, was hoping that I'd hit it. I did, and it hit just enough that it critted enough that it took him out. It's like, holy crap, this works. And then the second guy, he got nervous and he started firing in this wild, like, he treated like a railgun at that, well, not railgun, a minigun, just like shooting like in this wide circle around me, and I'm just sitting there, standing there like, I've become the Jedi I've dreamed.
He turned into a stormtrooper, basically.
You can't touch me. Yeah, pretty much. And Then I hit him in the head and like, it works. It's magical. But yes, the three of us played Fortnite. Do you guys enjoy it? Have fun? I mean, we played it for like 3 hours at least, or 2.5 hours.
I mean, if I'm playing with friends, yeah.
It is that thing, right? It was like, I say unfortunately, because originally, having, I'll put it this way, right? Having covered games and being in covering games and in covering the industry, you see so much Fortnite stuff that you get the feeling from a covering perspective that you don't want to cover at all, because everybody else is already doing that.
It's so saturated, right?
The other stuff needs attention. We can't forget about that stuff. So I've been relatively anti-Fortnite, but, I'm going to admit that, we've always admitted at the highest level without jokes that it was a decent game, and I do have fun with it with friends. I really do.
So we'll leave it at that. Fortnite's still good. Okay, cool. So, Cam, lay it on me. You've been streaming a lot of different games. About it?
I've been streaming a lot of different games in the Pokemon series, so I guess I'm a Pokemon streamer now. That's a thing.
Yeah, congratulations.
So, thank you. I found my heart. It feels like I found my identity because everything. Yes, I'm soul searching. Everything's just working out well now. So I'm hitting 3 Nuzlocke at once right now. One on Pokemon Prism, which is a very expansive fan game. One on Pokemon Heart Gold in my spare time. Actually 4. One in Pokemon Crystal as well. And also Pokemon White 2 randomized. And nice. White 2 and Prism are streamed on Monday and Friday. So I've been hitting that. I also downloaded, just for the heck of it, pretty much a bunch of Gatcha games, which are, of course, the rolling games and things like that, mobile games. And so I actually put out the tweet where I downloaded Fire Emblem Heroes, Fate Go for the Fate series, Girls Frontline, and I also have Pokemon Go and DX2 Liberation. Pokemon Go is not a Gatcha, but DX2 is. So I had like 4 Gatcha games. I downloaded 3 in one night, and I was like, see you losers later. I'm going in.
Just cancel your credit card now. Save yourself the horrors that you could potentially face.
Well, luckily, I'm a free-to-play player. For that sort of thing, I don't put money into mobile games, so I just kind of do it at my own pace. The real struggle with mobile games for me, though, is when I load up on too many, it becomes like a morning ritual of I'm spending an hour and a half going through mobile games, and I don't want that to happen, so I'm looking for ones, ironically, with a little gameplay, because I want something I can just press and then move on, pretty much. So Girls Frontline's been good for that. Among them, I haven't gotten to try Fate Go yet, because it's been down, actually. The Android had a big update, and we don't have the new version of it yet, so that's been an issue for the last 3 or so days. But yeah, I've been working at that. I played a new game called Hacknet on Steam, which was gifted to me by a friend, Lucklight. And Hacknet was very interesting. It was an interface. I streamed this as well, actually. And it was an interface command, like a command console on a computer. And you're basically using Unix commands to hack into different computers and to like look into their servers and advance the story. So like you're taking contracts for a hacking group, you're finding passwords for other people, you're cracking ports, you're doing FTP bounces and shit like that. So it was really nice. It was really entertaining. And you can check that out if you want at Cam Collects.
You were very passionate about it, but because I don't have as much experience in that type of field, it was completely Greek to me, and I felt disassociated. Like, I don't know what I'm looking at here. He's excited because something's happening, but he's looking at code I have no idea about.
Yeah, so I have very little experience as far as things go in terms of cracking and that sort of thing. All I can say is I mentioned this on stream too. I used to want to go into the military through the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. And so I actually did training there for a while. And there was some information warfare classes I took. And on those classes, they taught us how to breach computers. And one of the exercises basically was to try and hack the guy's computer next to you before he hacked yours and stuff like that. And so some of the stuff seems incredibly familiar to me, to the point where I'm even willing to say with a good 80% accuracy that everything that they're using and doing in the game Hacknet is pretty real. I would say those are generally real commands. So that's pretty cool as well. It does teach you a thing or two, and at least how computers work and how, getting past firewalls works and how getting into ports work and that sort of thing.
That's awesome, man. You said you were playing Pokemon White 2, but you also said you're playing Pokemon Prism. Now, a lot of people might not know about that. You want to tell them about it?
Definitely. So Pokemon Prism is probably the most extensive fan game there is for Pokemon. It's based on Pokemon Crystal, and it's been in development, I want to say, for maybe 10 years or something, because I played a very early build of it in 2011, and it actually just recently was released. It got so big, basically, it got C&D'd by Pokemon Company, and they had to take everything down, but somehow the final build of the game leaked. Somehow.
Of course.
So, oh, yeah.
We had nothing to do with it, but we actually dropped this flash drive. It's a large organization called 4chan, but
right. No, exactly. So it's a complete overhaul of Pokemon Crystal as the base. They demade some of the Pokemon all the way through Gen 4. So you see sprite-based versions of Pokemon from Gen 3 and Gen 4 for the palette, basically, of Crystal version. And it has its own music, a lot of Gen 4 demake music as well. It has its complete own 2 regions, 20 badges. I think it brings you up to level 100. It's the most extensive fan game there is. A lot of care into developing it. I'd say the one detriment to it is that they added a bunch of, I think, like 5 types that were relatively unnecessary. Like,
like smoke, wood.
Gas, wood, sound, abnormal instead of normal. But despite that being said, they added abilities to Gen 2. They added natures to Gen 2. So there's a lot of cool stuff in there, too. They changed some of the move learning and that sort of thing. Like, I was happy to find that Zubat learns Gust, which if you've ever trained up a Zubat and a Nuzlocke, Zubat's really hard to train because it starts with Leech Life. Yeah, and it gets Leech Life, and then it gets Astonish, then it gets like Bite, and then you get Wing Attack in like the 16s or something like that. But we picked up Gust at like level 8 or something, which was super great.
You've said very specifically before that Crobat is one of your favorite Pokemon.
Mm-hmm. Second favorite.
Second favorite. What's your first?
No, Noctowl.
Noctowl.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. Well, I guess the point being is, I'm sure because that was your second favorite Pokemon, you would love to raise it, but you found it frustrating. So it gave that streamlined and made it a little bit easier for you. That's great. That's awesome.
I'm excited. Yeah, completely.
And I would be terrified to be playing a gas type Pokemon and accidentally walking into a fire type gym. Because if I saw that right, 4 times weakness just by being a gas Pokemon.
Mm-hmm. So it was weird because I think how our friend Frost was describing it in chat, and Amethyst Frost, actually, he's somebody who comes into my streams a lot, and he's one of the admins of SciPoke, which was a pretty famous website back in the day for Pokemon information. Still updated. Yeah, people still use it a ton. I do too now. And he's an admin for it. And so he has been working on the TCG database, but he also was telling me, just like looking through stuff, and he was like, yeah, so gas is 4 times weak to fire, but also I think he said fire was 4 times weak to gas. So basically, if they touch each other, it's just going to be a bad time.
Boosh.
Yeah, so we got to watch out for that.
I like how it's...
That's high stakes right there.
Mm-hmm.
It would be interesting if there was like a grass gas type. Just imagine like 8 times damage weakness. He could do like the like a level 5 Charmander with, or maybe not level 5, but like level 6 with Ember, and all of a sudden just...
Oh, yeah, no.
Just instant murder.
Mm-hmm. With stab, too, because that would stack. If you have stab, if you have a held item. Ooh.
Oh, gosh, so that would be vicious. I'd be terrified to have that kind of Pokemon in my party. Yeah. Like, that would be immediate switch, like, no questions. Like, it could be a level 6, and you're, like, level 60. Nope. NTY. NTY.
Yeah, I'm running 4 Nuzlocks at the same time right now, so I'm a happy camper.
You are the master Nuzlocke juggler right now. Jeez. That's professional. Anything else on your end?
No, not besides the mobile games. Just kind of what I said before. I'm not going to go too much into them because there's not much to them. They're mostly gacha games. I talked a little bit about DX2 Liberation last week. That's still very highly recommended in terms of content versus being a mobile game. There's plenty of content in that game. That's practically a real game. But Girls Frontline being the other end was like the littlest gameplay, but a lot of roles. And then we'll see what Fako's like and all that. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Short week for that.
Right. Same here. I mean, actually, I picked up a slightly old but new game, and played quite a bit of it. But Terraria specifically, we have beaten the Moon Lord. We have done all sorts of things to it. We have gotten anything we could possibly want. However, Amanda and I, our ambitions wouldn't have. We couldn't be sated. We had to keep going. And so what I did, my first thought is we can create a brand new world and play it on expert, maybe brand new characters. Realized that I've already put in about 38 hours into this character, and I was not about to start completely from scratch. Not to mention, I've worked so hard, designing this world that I didn't want to give it up and just let it go into the annals of history where no one was ever going to see it again. So what I end up doing is there's a program where you can, because you can't switch it manually from normal to expert mode. Yeah, I had to have it, get the hex information of it edited. Just, simple drag it to the program, boop, it's suddenly expert world. So I did that. We took on all the bosses up to the Moon Lord, and we still destroyed them. It was, it was like, oh man, we're still pretty cool. Yeah, look at us. But then we got to the Moon Lord, and the Moon Lord's like,
you poor fools. I hope you guys got it.
It was not pretty. We have not beaten the Moon Lord at all. However, there is an item that you can get from beating the Moon Lord at least twice, and it is called what is it called? The Drill Containment Unit. It is the strongest mining ability because with the second highest thing, you'll mine about maybe 2 blocks every second, whereas the drill containment unit, you'll drill about maybe 20 blocks every second now. So all of a sudden, I'm just like flying through Earth, just like a giant worm, just destroying everything in my path. And I realized that this is A, hilarious, and B,
little by little, the drill advances each turn.
Oh, are we about to make a Gurren Lagann?
Oh, yeah, we are. Yeah, we are.
Oh, gosh. Yes. This was the drill containment unit that could pierce the heavens.
Oh.
Yeah, I know, right? And so I've been strip mining, going around my world, just tearing through, popping potions where I can see special ore. And then I've been making this Tower of Babylon just of random ores I found, just slowly built it together piece by piece until, it goes off the screen. And then about maybe 50 to 100 feet off the ground, I realized I don't want to do this anymore. This is actually boring. I don't need the strip mine. Other than that, I've been playing some Persona 4. I'm hitting to the point to where I see where the game's going, how things are working out, and I'm really hitting the burnout, unfortunately. I'm only like 23 hours in.
Do you know where the game is going, though?
Well, right now, well, I just mean in terms of like, okay, there's a dungeon, you're going to be doing the dungeon, and then you spend, a week and a half to like trying to raise up your Persona statuses and your social links and all that. And right now, it just out of the blue is like, hey, this kid that, hit on Yukiko and tried asking her out, and, got, the guy.
Yep.
He's suddenly in the other world. It's like, oh, okay, there's no build up for that whatsoever. There's a slight mention about why he's back there, I guess, but now I'm doing that world and I have no connection to him whatsoever. It's like, I don't want this guy on my team.
You got to look into the lore. Why? There's a reason why you're going to that dungeon. It was explained.
Yeah, I guess, but it didn't seem all that cool. And because every other reason, Kenji and Rise or Rise, whatever you want to call it, they all had cool build up to it. Like, oh man, better keep an eye on this fellow, Scooby-Doo gang style, because something might happen to him. Oh, they're gone. What's happened? LOL, let's go find them.
I wonder if there's not as much build up for that guy for a reason. You should keep playing.
Are you telling me there's going to be heavy payoff afterwards?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I believe you. It's rough.
I know what part of the game you're at, and I'm like, oh yeah, just keep going.
It's nice because I appreciate Persona 5 because you can save partway through the dungeons, and you cannot do that in Persona 4. It stinks. I lost some progress because I was playing mid-drive throughout the country or whatever, put it in sleep mode, came back, and my battery's dead, and I lost the progress. But probably the game I've been playing the most, actually, maybe with Terraria, tied with it, was WindWaker HD, because I'm now on Twitch. I decided that YouTube is yeah, I know, right? My playing on YouTube, basically, it means anybody that sees me on Twitter posting about it will look into it.
Yep.
Or otherwise, they'll see it later on when they're checking stuff out. However, on Twitch, I'm much more likely to get noticed, just because I'll say, hey, I'm playing this game. They look and they type, they coincidentally say, hey, I want to watch this game. And sure as heck, hey, they find me.
Yep. Also, the good thing about Twitch, too, is all the people who follow you or that you follow. So, for example, if I'm just like checking Twitch for my stuff, of course, I'll see, oh, Tyler's streaming, which is something I'm like, okay, I got to go over there, right? Rather than I didn't look at Twitter and see the link.
True. That is also very true because I get an email and a Twitter post now pretty much telling me, hey, or I got a Twitch post and an email post. And then I think I got notifications on for Cam. So I get a Twitter post saying, hey, sniff that succulent trash. We're about to play some games.
To also just quickly, just briefly touch on the different streaming platforms. Twitch is obviously the giant, the monolith, the old. What's the game with all the big beasts? Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh, Shadow of the Colossus,
right? And then you have Mixer, you have Facebook, you have YouTube. Now YouTube really shot itself in the foot. They have some really strict guidelines that they implemented starting a couple of months back, where you can't show any sort of violence, where certain things people's videos just get randomly demonetized. And I'm talking about verified YouTubers who have like hundreds of thousands of millions of subscribers, and then all of a sudden, it's been demonetized because of this and this reason. So in terms of becoming a live streaming platform, they've shot themselves in the foot. Actually,
as a quick aside on that, funny enough, so I upload, of course, my streams to YouTube afterwards, my Pokemon streams, and I went to upload the first White 2 Nuzlocke part that we did on Monday, and I got a Pokemon Company copyright strike. Ooh. And the video, though, wasn't even public. It hasn't even been uploaded. It was not even uploaded, and I got a copyright strike on it. So I'm like, what? Huh?
Yeah, no, so in terms of gaming, YouTube is doing all the wrong things. Facebook is a good place to grow. And now I'm talking in the sense that, all right, if you want to be a streamer, if you want to be a content creator full time, if you know this is your dream, Facebook is like the right moves because they're just putting money, they're pouring money into developing their platform. They launched their pilot program in Feb. Oh, no, maybe in Jan or December even. So a couple of months ago.
You can say the whole month, Nick.
So it's in that time zone between December and Feb.
Yeah.
Right? And they had
February,
34 content creators that they brought in from different platforms to set up their own streaming platform. And so one of them is Darkness429, who's a Twitch streamer for about 3 or 4 years. And those 3 or 4 years, it took him that long to get up to 60,000 followers. It took him 4 or 5 weeks to get up to 60,000 followers on Facebook.
Yeah,
right? Because there's just a bigger reach. There's so many people on Facebook.
I've heard
just, like scrolling through Facebook, right? And so they're just able to reach more people. Mixer is great, but only if you play PUBG or Fortnite right now.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of people on Facebook having great success stories, so we might want to look into that at some point too.
Yeah, so that was just my side note.
Thank you. No, that is actually fantastic information because there's so much in the world that I specifically don't know as now a Twitch streamer. Woohoo! But I was just happy because I was like, wow, I got 5 people watching me. This is cool. But that doesn't mean anything if I could go on Facebook and in a few weeks, if I do everything and play my cards right, I could get a lot more than that.
Well, so that being said, so think of it this way. If you want to keep streaming as a hobby, which I intend to, stick to Twitch, right? Because for me, that's where my friends are. That's where the community I became part of, that's where they are. So when I did my little stint on Mixer for a while, it was just hard because Mixer culture is a little different. And also I don't know anybody there. Whereas, and especially after going to GuardianCon as well, a majority of the content creators I met, they were on Twitch. And so now I have all these different relationships, and it was just easier for me as my own hobby to stay on Twitch. But if anybody wants to grow, Mixer or Facebook, those are the 2 main options right now.
All right. Fair enough. Any other games that we want to talk about before we go into the next section?
I'm all set. Let's roll.
Oh, man. I'm hyped. I'm terrified, but I'm hyped. I'm only terrified for Nick, of course, because I'm in the clear. Right now,
I'll be fine.
For the video, for the video watchers, behind me right now is a wine bottle that says the Nick Switch Initiative. And Amanda even took the time, and you can't see it quite well, but she does a good job of drawing the Joy-Cons using marker and on all the sides. But most importantly, if you look at the top of the bottle, there's a $20 bill sticking out of there. That $20 bill could easily push Nick towards $100 American dollars towards his goal of getting a Nintendo Switch.
Whoa. So that's like $1 million Canadian dollars essentially.
Yeah, essentially. That's the conversion rate on that. Yep.
However, of course, Nick has to pass the horrible trial of 5 questions of our choosing. The topic today is Kirby. Now, Cam, you're gonna have to help him out because Nick says he's all confident and he's all cool and stuff, but I don't know why. But I feel like I might have a couple of curveballs for him.
All right, Nick, if numbers or companies are involved, I got your back. If it's in series lore about characters, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so got 5 questions ready for you. Yeah. Nick, are you ready? Nick is ready.
I'm good to go.
He got the thumbs up. Cam, are you ready?
I'm ready.
We are all ready then. Let us begin then. The Kirby quiz for the Nick Switch Initiative. Dramatic music.
Dun, 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 dun.
Or actually, I'd probably just be, the
dun dun.
Oh, you can do that. You can do that.
I'm gonna say, or I could do the dramatic theme against King Day Today. Da, 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 da. Okay, fine,
I
whatever.
was gonna say, or we can ask the question. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Question number 1. This is in fact a non-multiple choice question. And just so you know, for everybody who's aware, if Nick feels like he needs some help, he has 2 times he can assist or have a cam assist for them. So we got that going on. Question number 1, non-multiple choice. The first and most of Kirby games were developed by HAL Laboratory and published by Nintendo. But what person is considered the actual creator of Kirby?
Ooh.
Don't worry, confident Nick. He's just playing to the audience. Don't you worry.
No, I'm not playing to any kind of audience. Names don't stick well with me.
I can help on this one if you need it.
I might have to use cam a little early. That's okay.
I mean, that's perfectly fine. Just remember, HAL Laboratory was the person that created the game, but who's the person behind the concept?
Right. So I know, and Cam, I'm talking to you here.
Are we using me?
Yeah, I'm going to use you. Yeah, because I want to be sure. No, you don't need to. I know the creators are Sakurai and Iwata. Iwauto?
Yes, Satoru Iwata. Yep.
Did you just say Waru?
I'm terrible with names. You have to.
President of Nintendo?
So you're looking at Masahiro Sakurai and Satoru Iwata is what you're looking at.
Satoru Iwata. Yeah.
Yep.
Those are the 2 people. Yes, I knew it. I'm gonna go with that answer.
So the first, I would say that you have to answer, of course, who's the creator though, the single. I think he was asking. I would say go for Sakurai.
Okay, so Sakurai, Masahiro Sakurai.
Is that your final answer?
We're gonna go with it and see what happens.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nick has gotten the first question right with the help of Cam. It is in fact Masahiro Sakurai. However, for a bonus point, this gives you absolutely nothing, but you kind of know it already. They also give credit to a second person for the first game itself, the creation. Who was the person that assisted Sakurai in creating the game?
Satoru Iwata.
There you go.
That is correct.
Hey, I got it all on my own. No help whatsoever.
No help whatsoever.
Thank you, Cam. Thank you.
Yeah. No, but you knew the 2 names, which is wonderful. So
It stinks because that was actually the easy question I was trying to give you, so I'm a little bit nervous now.
I have a spin-off. Just a fun little question for you too, Nick, not for any stake. So Masahiro Sakurai, of course, was attributed for creating Kirby. What else is he famous for that you might have heard a lot more about recently?
We went over this? I'm 100% sure. Like I remember, like I recognize his name.
Yep.
His name is something I recognize.
You'd recognize it because
never ask for anything else ever again.
Yeah, he's the director of Super Smash Brothers.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Oh man, Nick sounded so thrilled. No, in his defense, it's like 10 o'clock in the morning, so you know.
Fair, yeah.
Okay,
10:20 actually.
Oh, 10:20. Pardon me, my kind gentleman, scholar, saint. Question number 2. Which game introduced the ability for Kirby to copy enemy attacks by inhaling them? And I want to say for the record here, for you guys to keep this in mind, the 4 choices are the first 4 main games. There are also other games that came out, like side games like Kirby Avalanche and whatnot.
Right,
These are the first 4 core series. I'm going to name them off. A is Kirby's Dream Land.
Yep.
B is Kirby's Adventure. C, which is kind of a core game, but not really, Kirby's Dream Course.
Okay.
Or D, Kirby's Adventure 2.
I have this answer, but
Yeah, so if I get it wrong, I get it wrong. I don't care. B, Kirby's Adventure.
Okay, is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nick is just blowing right through this with B, Kirby's Adventure, and that is absolutely correct. Yes, that is right. A lot of people, if they haven't played the game before, they think Kirby's Dream Land, he's able to copy abilities right off the get-go, but back then it was all just inhaling stars and spitting it out.
See, all I know about Kirby before I read up for this quiz is that he inhales things and gains their power. And so, for whatever reason, with the way you phrased that question, I knew it was going to be the first one, but I didn't know it was going to be the second one. So I'm like, well, I already have one in the bag, and I have to get 2 more. So if I get this wrong, I get this wrong.
I see what you're going for.
So these are like multiple choice final exam tactics, right?
Yeah.
You kind of eliminate 2 of them, or at least one of them, and so I have a 1 in 3 chance now.
Okay, so am I being too nice with you? Because I can drop the hints. The hints are off.
See, this is the only time
Let's
where
drop the hints.
Okay, yeah, let's drop the hints.
Yeah, we're at 2 at a. Yeah, let's drop the hints.
Okay. Question number 3. What's the name of the planet that Kirby lives on?
Popstar.
Oh.
Okay, is that your final answer?
Yes, my final answer.
Cam, I need you as the judge on this one.
Okay.
Because in Wikipedia, it's not really Pop Star, it's called Pop Planet. But
Popstar is the localized name of it, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay, I can work with you on this one then, because I feel like maybe localization, maybe there's definitely stars that constantly go around, and stars is definitely a theme, but it's technically a planet. It's not a star. You don't live on the sun.
Right. But yeah,
but it is a star-shaped planet.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the localization calls it Pop Star, but then again, like we're talking that, like Dreamland in Japanese, I think is like Pururu Land or something like that, or Puru Land or something. So yeah, it's the same thing.
Okay, fine, whatever. I'm gonna start throwing random questions at Nick now. Next, you already won. I'm already mad. What is the name of the part of Pop Star that Kirby lives in?
Dreamland.
Okay.
I thought that was the name of the universe.
No, Dreamland is technically the country.
Yeah.
That King Dedede rules theoretically, but Kirby happens to live in. Okay, fine. Question number 4. What game introduced Kirby into the 3D world, as well as the concept of combining copy abilities? This is multiple choice if you need it.
You don't need it. He already won, so let's make it difficult, right?
Sure, fine. I'm taking it away. Fine. What game introduces Kirby into a 3D setting, and he has the ability to combine copy abilities together?
I know this one, but you won already, so.
I want to say Halo Combat Evolved. I have no idea.
Let me go Kirby 64 Crystal Shards.
It stinks because in this question particularly, that was answer C. Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards. Yes, that is correct. To Cam, Nick, we were wrong. Sorry, that wasn't Halo. I was gonna put Kirby and the Crystal Shards because I didn't want to say 64 because anybody can think if it's 64, that's probably when it hit its first 3D.
True.
No more context clues for you, Mister.
I gotcha.
Okay, fine. So this one is going to be the ultimate showdown. Question number 5. If you get this wrong, you actually get -5 points. Ooh.
Okay. Yeah. I'm willing to take that risk.
Okay, hanging on here. I'm going crazy here. Question number 5. This is true or false. You got a 50-50 chance.
All right.
Kirby has come out on every Nintendo console since the Nintendo Entertainment System, with the exception of the Virtual Boy.
Oh, call me in for help on this one.
Cam, I'm calling you for help on this one.
All right, let's play some thoughts.
I want to say that you answered question number 1 and question number 4 for Nick here. So can you really help on a third?
I answered wrong. The question number 4.
Okay, fine. If you guys need to team up and cheat, I'm just going to sit here and get the bottle ready to push the $20 in.
I didn't call Cam in for question number 4.
Okay, so let me go through the console. So Game Boy, definitive yes. Game Boy Advance, definitive yes. I'll go handhelds then home console. So Game Boy, definitive yes. Advance, definitive yes. DS, definitive yes. 3DS, definitive yes. Let's see. Terms of home consoles, NES, yes. Super Nintendo, yes. Virtual Boy, no, but that's excluded.
$20 in.
64, yes. GameCube, yes. Wii, yes. Switch, yes. Wii U. I think so. I think the answer is true. I think there's a Wii U Kirby game. I'm pretty sure because I think it's not Epic Yarn. Epic Yarn's on the Wii, but there's some sort of motion controlled Kirby game on the Wii U. I'm pretty darn sure.
The answer is true, Tyler. That's what we're going.
I forgot a console.
Are you?
Oh wait, no. Hold on. Did you say since the NES? Or did you say every Nintendo console?
Every Nintendo console since the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Okay, because I was wondering if he was going to go for, it was not on like the Game & Watch or the, TV Color game. And I was like,
Now, did the Game & Watch come after the Nintendo console?
Well, hold on. NES was 80s, early 80s, and Game & Watch was handheld in years I forgot.
I thought Game...
Yeah, they might have come out. They might have come out around then too. So I don't think they were.
Let's borrow Game & Watch then. Just from that one because I don't know that either.
Let me make sure I'm not forgetting a console. We're not Satellaview or console, right?
I just want to point out that Cam is carrying Nick here hard.
Are we
very hard?
Yeah. Are we counting the? Are we counting the 64 DD? Or are we counting the Famicom Disk System as a separate system? I need to know these things.
Tyler, I just want to say I think you've made this question unnecessarily complicated for yourself.
I'm sorry, I made this very simple. There's somebody else that's tearing the gun apart to look at every single piece.
I need to know.
Okay, I'm sorry. I made this question really complicated to answer for us.
Has Kirby come out on every American delivered Nintendo console since the Nintendo Entertainment System, except for the Virtual Boy?
All right.
I'm feeling stipulations are killing me.
Well, I'm forgetting. I always feel like I'm forgetting something when it comes to Nintendo consoles. Like there's a secret one I'm forgetting. But he said true, so.
Do you think it would come out on the Famicom, but not the Nintendo? What are you talking about here? Are you losing it?
Well, no, I'm saying Famicom Disk System or 64DD were viable options if you want to talk about consoles in different formats. But if those aren't counted, then
even if you want to argue the 64DD, yes, it's called the Crystal Shards. It still came out for it. It didn't come out specifically for the expansion pack.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But some things, if it's exclusive to the expansion pack, some would consider that a separate console. Generally, that's how exclusivity is how we call that. So,
but that's like saying, did it come out for the PlayStation 4 versus the PlayStation 4 Pro?
Well, no, because some games there's no games that just run on the Pro. But there are games that just run on 64DD.
I realize I'm making a terrible mistake here because I'm contesting his own thought process against.
You're just propagating it. You're just keeping it going. I answered true.
But he answered true. So
answered true.
You answered true, and ladies and gentlemen, for the 5th question, to save himself from any humility, as I pushed the $20 in. Yes, it is in fact true. Kirby has come out on every Nintendo console. In this question, specifically the American Nintendo consoles.
So I think here on out, we should make like the next one like a big like midterm that just crushes me.
You have to answer every single question that we've put up so far.
Leave it to me.
Numbers.
No, dude, leave it to me. I'll give you something crushing.
Yeah, because then we have to make me lose one, so that it doesn't seem like it's rigged.
You're right.
Yeah, this one was kind of easy. Okay, I'm saying it now. I'm not proud of it.
This one was a little easy. This was like
Kirby games are easy in general, so there's, maybe.
Mind you, though, I had fun learning about something. Like I just had no idea about like Kirby in general.
Yeah. Okay, so how do we want to? I'll take next one. How do we want to really ruin his life in terms of a big midterm? How can I get gross with it?
Let's see. I would say that you name off 5 different franchises and pick a question from each. That way he has to read 5 different Wikipedia pages. And then should it be the 5 that we've already looked at before, though? That way, technically, it's a midterm he looked at.
I have another idea. Why don't I know one. I'll give you 5, but those 5 are going to be different consoles.
Oh, man, it's just, you pick on such very broad topics that's just murderous. It's
I'm gonna murder it.
But instead of a pencil for his testing, you just give him a gun with a single bullet. It's like, what are you doing?
That's fine. I'll take it.
Here's the plan, actually. Considering my forte, let's go even worse and let's go handheld. So I'm going to have you have a question. Your questions are going to be from 5 different Wikipedia pages, okay? And those Wikipedia pages are going to be Game Boy, and that includes the color. So Game Boy, Game Boy Light, Game Boy Color.
Game Boy has a
Game Boy Advanced. So that includes micro. DS. Let's do.
You're running out of.
I'm like, do I want to switch? Well, why don't I just do DS, 3DS, Switch?
So Game Boy Advance, DS, 3DS, Switch.
Yep. But all the things within that family, it's going to be difficult. The reason why I specified early on is because the Game Boy family, sometimes if you look up Game Boy, it'll also get advanced stuff, but let's treat advanced separately, that whole line separate, Game Boy separate, and then DS, 3DS, Switch. And you're going to have one question from each those Wikipedia pages, and I'm going to get real hard on you.
And I will up the ante then. If you do succeed in winning this, instead of $20, I'll put it to $50.
Oh. And I will say this.
That would have put you literally halfway to $300.
Mm-hmm. I'm not completely without remorse, so what I will do is every question I ask you will be something I know already. So I will say that. So it's not going to be anything so deep that somebody wouldn't want to memorize.
Okay, no, but it's still like exponentially more than I would know.
Most likely.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, no, that's fair.
Sakurai, who? Hal did what? So just a random fun fact I shot at Cam earlier. The origin of Hal's name, the person, the company in charge of developing Kirby, I pointed out to Cam that they created HAL because it was one letter below IBM, which was a competing company at the time, because they wanted to be one step ahead of them every single time, including the name. So IBM, they drop, if you drop each one down a letter, it would be HAL, which is HAL.
Wouldn't it make sense then to just go up one?
Well, I mean, they want to be one step ahead by, if
I guess
if you're gonna pick I, then
they should have been JC
some horrible name that wouldn't make sense. So that was the origin of HAL. So, Nick, I want to say for the record, congratulations.
Thank you.
You beat the quiz for Kirby. We got happy dramatic music, I'm sure, playing in the background that we just can't hear right now, but it's there. It's there. You're enjoying it. I just want to point for the record that you are now at $100. In fact, you're at 101 because I found a dollar bill sitting somewhere, and I was like, I'll put it in the pot. So you're at $101. So if you do pass the midterms, you will in fact be over halfway there.
That's
right
insane.
now. You are over 1/3 of the way there just by sheer studying alone. I'm not going to lie. The amount of time that you could potentially put in studying for this, you probably could be making money at a real job, and it'd probably be more profitable, I guess you could say. But for easiness, wanting to learn, trying to get better as a person, better than us as people that are looking up Wikipedia articles, you will one day be the true Nintendo hero that we all look forward, and you'll be given the legendary weapon.
And I also want to say that here's the thing, right? Doing these quizzes, once you answer all the questions, once you get your Switch, you're going to be in a position where you understand Nintendo history.
And I earned it.
90% of people. So,
okay,
you're getting your chops.
I do have one question for you, Nick. This might influence everything. What is the first game that you want to get and play for the Nintendo Switch?
Depends on when I get it. Realistically, let's assume that from here on out, I fail every quiz except
Fortnite it is, isn't it?
No, I played Fortnite on the mobile before, and it's a horrible experience. I'm never going to play it on anything except for my PC. Anyways, let's assume that I start passing these quizzes again right before the new core Pokemon RPG drops in November next year. Then it's going to be Pokemon. Otherwise, I think I'm either going to go... I feel like Breath of the Wild is probably what I'm going to get first, because that's the flagship game. That's the launch game.
I can see that for you. Honestly, it's like I would love the strong arm Breath of the Wild, because I personally think it would be the best game that you should always recommend as the first game. However, I'm not above admitting that there might be better suited games, such as Mario Odyssey. Mario Odyssey might be a game into your interest.
I was thinking about that actually. It's probably going to be one of those games, like a little bit big open world RPG type.
Let's say by the end of the year, the top 3 games I would recommend for you to get would probably be Breath of the Wild, Odyssey, and then Let's Go Eevee. That would probably be the big 3. There's other smaller titles.
We've talked about
in that case, hit Xenoblade.
Let's go.
Yeah, hit Xenoblade.
I want to try Xenoblade,
or even Octopath. Yeah.
Were we not talking about Let's Go Eevee? Were you talking about the game further?
I'm talking about next year. Yeah. I was saying, assuming I failed all the way. Yeah. No, I would never ever buy Let's Go as my first game.
Exactly.
Doing better than I will.
You do not want Let's Go Eevee, because Let's Go Pikachu is clearly the better one.
I said Let's Go specifically.
I know, and I corrected you. Oh, geez, I am a little troublemaker, ain't I? Okay, so we got 1 minute left before things are really going to heat up. So,
and I think I found like the perfect thing to just talk about, sort of segue into before we hit the news.
Okay.
Gamescom this year. Yeah. Which is happening currently, I think, or just finished or just started.
Wait, Gamescom happening? Oh my God.
Yeah, no, Gamescom is happening because they announced Doom Eternal. They didn't announce Doom Eternal.
No, Gamescom. Doom Eternal. That was QuakeCon. Gamescom is later this month.
My bad. I apologize.
Scared me.
Panic and Tita.
I have to do Here's the thing. I have Gamescom coverage that I have to do as a thing, and so I was like, wait.
No, my bad. Sorry, QuakeCon. Yes. I just know Gamescom's in August.
It's coming.
Yes. Yeah. So they showed some Doom Eternal gameplay, and it looks really, really good.
Yeah,
mind you, I have Doom on my PC, and I just haven't really played it properly, just because of various other reasons. But it's a beautiful game. Well, beautiful in the sense as how beautiful a hellish landscape can get. Yeah. But Doom Eternal brings true hell onto Earth, and they showcased a bunch of new weapons. They've got a shotgun with a grappling hook. They've got...
Welcome to the Nightclub, where things might be a little bit not safe for work. If you got children around, you probably should enjoy this later, but don't worry, we'll be waiting for you.
A multi-modular weaponry that you can, fucking shoot rockets. You got shotguns with a whip blade that you can grapple onto somebody, pull yourself to
that sounds awesome.
I
just gotta say, Nick, just as an aside, not even Doom related, boy, do I love hentai.
Oh man, let's talk about Artificial Academy 2. Oh my gosh, that's such a great game.
Oh, we're in the night zone now.
Yeah, welcome. You can call it the Night Zone, Nightclub, whatever you want. We are now into not safe for work, as you probably should have realized. But don't worry, things are going to get kind of crazy here. So,
back to it.
Doom Eternal looks fucking lit.
Oh, we're going memes now. We're going slang. You're going lit. It's not even the F-bomb that freaks me out. It's lit, dude.
That's what. Yeah, I figured that would be a good segue into like the nightclub talking about Doom, and then just randomly, casually dropping an F1.
So we have no. I was gonna say freaking. We have no freaking idea when the hour's gonna hit, because sometimes conversations can get long in some tooth. But in this case, it looks like we're gonna start the news right into the nightclub. So we got 2 news topics on this beautiful shit show.
You're gonna have 3 if you didn't put on the Emu Paradise thing, just so you know.
It's okay. We have 3 news articles with Cam hosting the third one. The first one is going to be, and this is a term that was coined by Brad Shoemaker, a giant bomb. I just really like the term, cryptojacking. A cryptojacking game, a game that hijacks your computer while trying to pretend it's just a game, and then uses your machine, the processing power to mine for cryptocurrency.
Yay!
And the idea is bewildering, but it's totally feasible. Mm-hmm. And sure as shit, that is something that happens. And it happened. Yeah. It happened recently with this cool game called cool is a loose term. I'm just cool with the concept of how horrible it is. Abstractism. It's a very simple game. I believe it's a platformer type. And people have started noticing as they play it, because they pay for this game for something. Mm-hmm. It's not a free game. Then all of a sudden their computers started overheating and started cooking for this very simple Flash game. It's like, what's going on?
What's this mining process running right now?
I know, right?
All of my CPU and GPU.
And so people are, they ask the developers, like, why is my computer running so hard for the simple game? It's like, LOL. It's just, it has heavy shaders. The graphics designs are just so heavy. We're doing 400 times anti-scope for all this stuff, and the parallax is crazy on the set.
It's a 4K 8-bit Flash game scroller with leveling.
Yeah. I remember one of the best ones I saw where they were like, "Hey, what is this program you're asking me to install?" And he's like, "Oh, don't worry, we need that to connect to Steam."
Exactly that. There's another thing that before we get even deeper into this, there is an item that you can buy with and this isn't actually in the game itself, but through the Steam store, where it's like this $100 valued hat that you can buy for only, like, let's say $20-$30. And so you're like, oh crap, if it's only $20-$30, I'm gonna buy it. And all of a sudden it turns out it's not for Team Fortress, but it's for Abstractism. So you bought a hat that doesn't even have any effect or exist in this game, thinking it was the $100 hat for Fortress. We're not paying attention that the game it goes to. And all of a sudden you got ripped off.
And maybe then you realize that a $100 hat in Team Fortress is completely useless, and that these all hold no value whatsoever, and you shouldn't buy them.
So the whole coming into Christ moment, I guess, as Cam would describe it.
Yeah.
The most popular person that noticed that things were going on was Sid Alpha. Now, Sid Alpha is actually well known for being a person that breaks down and finds suspicious activity in games. Obviously, a lot in Steam. But he noticed that something was afoot. People are starting to talk about it with the Team Fortress issue. And he looked into it. He noticed that his computer started overheating like crazy. Started looking into the processes behind his game, because he was able to dig into the stuff. Or she. Yeah. What do I know? Sid could be. No. Sure. Anyways, finds out that there is actually a mining process going on. And funny enough, then he starts looking at people complaining, saying, hey, there's something going on here. Why is my computer overrunning? He's like, oh, LOL, the graphics are so intense, but it's a simple game. And then eventually they took it one step further, and Sid Alpha, as well as a couple other people, approached them and saying, hey, these applications are game launchers that Abstractism was using to mine Bitcoin. And Abstractism was like, no, we would never do that. And to their point that they said very specifically is, Bitcoin is outdated. We use Abstractism to mine only Monero coin.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we don't mine Bitcoin, we mine Monero. Oh, wait.
They're doing that wrong. The future clearly is in Garlic coin.
No, it's in Ethereum.
The Wario coins. Okay, so go ahead.
No, I'm just thinking, would it be different if people knew that this was happening? Like if people knew that they were being used, and if they got a tiny bit of the profit, like the share of it?
It would definitely be used.
Cryptocurrency mining pool.
Like, I would say people do this all the time, but not like tricking other people typically, unless
I've done this.
And it's like, there was a time where for the PS3, there was a thing where you could use the PS3's processing power to send it to major research facilities where you could do research. I believe it was against cancer.
Yep.
And so this is not unheard of. But I want to point out that in the same message that they said that they weren't, they were being accused of doing data mining, essentially. That we don't use Bitcoin, we use Monero coins.
Right.
Actually.
It's like they tricked themselves. They were like, "What are you talking about? We don't mine Bitcoin. We mine Monero on your computer."
But then they immediately say abstractism does not mine any of the cryptocurrency. Probably you're playing on a high graphics setting because they take a bit of CPU and GPU power required for post-processing effects rendering. It's like you just admitted the terrible thing that's going on, but then you immediately cover it up. My first thought is like, okay, English might not be the first language here, but
they also might be tricky.
They must also be.
So what they said was abstractism's not mining, but what if the launchers are and abstractism isn't? The game itself might not be the mining program. It might be the launchers they're using that they made people download or whatever.
And so this got such a fireworks show coming on from Sid Alpha that Valve immediately noticed, realized that they're doing a scam where they're tricking people to buy expensive hats that have no existence. They stole the model of it from Team Fortress.
I was going to say a scam Valve itself is very a big fan of.
And they found out they're trolling. They're using unauthorized code to use data mining to get Monero coin, because heaven forbid I say Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And took them down. So if you want as abstractism and you want to support the crazy regime that's going on with Bitcoin and cryptojacking, well, you're out of luck. You have to find somebody else to get scammed from.
Yeah.
So that's the first news article. Is there any thoughts before we keep going? Because we can talk about it.
All I'll say is I don't know what country, of course, abstractism based out of, but I'm pretty sure this is super illegal. To the point where I'm surprised this isn't already taken down from Steam if it's a confirmed thing, and if not, legal action against developers, because that's hijacking computers and using them.
100%.
Yeah.
Like they could easily take it a step forward and turn this into an example.
Yeah.
It's surprising that Valve hasn't already.
I think it comes down to whether, you could look, right? If there's somewhere in the agreement when you buy the game of like, we're going to mine from your computer, then it's a different story. But like, if you just jack people's computer for that sort of thing, I don't know if that would levy against the company either. And maybe even against Valve for not protecting the users against that.
Oh man. So much shit can fly out of this.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why Valve is just being so quiet. It's like, oh, you're gone. They see some legal issues like, oh, this could backfire if we, take them out.
Valve should have killed them like the second it came up, honestly.
Because if they make a big stink, that's going to point out that, Valve had a hole in the security. Something happened here. Valve's not 100% safe.
Yeah, there's no security on Valve.
Things could go bad against them. I know, right? They let the floodgate of all this old crap come in. So the next topic is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Direct had came out this Thursday. I could be mistaken. Wednesday. Okay, that sounds right. So a lot of things happened. A lot of people were making wild predictions. Some of them were right. Some of them were wrong. I was wrong because I made two predictions. The first one was my big one. They're not going to announce any new characters. I was obviously very wrong.
Oh yeah, no, they told us they were going to. So. And
the second one was if they did announce any, Waluigi will finally make his appearance with something besides the trophy.
I think you're still getting it. So here's the deal. So Waluigi there's a big to-do about this, basically. Waluigi is the most requested character. Sakurai is aware of it to the point where people who were harassing Sakurai over it, over adding Waluigi, and he commented on it. And he even said, I think the love for Waluigi is fake. And he's right for the most part. I think a lot of people jump on the bandwagon of liking Waluigi and want him in Smash because it's the good joke. It's the big joke everybody likes. Follow the bandwagon. But that being said, Nintendo's still a company. It's still a lot bigger than just Sora Limited, which Sakurai's working for right now, and bigger than Smash. So Nintendo could always come down and say, like, I don't care if you feel that it's like not true, genuine Waluigi love. Put him in the game because that's what people want. So what I think is likely is the last character reveal we get will be Waluigi, is what I'm thinking. But there was a big fight about this a couple weeks back.
I feel like they were really, because let's talk about the characters that weren't announced.
Yeah.
The first one is Simon Belmont. People have been suggesting and talking about it leaking out, as well as his clone, or I guess they call him Echoes now.
Yeah.
Richter Belmont, which is a descendant of him. So 2 Castlevania characters coming in, as well as a very cool stage.
Yeah.
And the fact the stage is so interesting to me, it's because the fact that Dracula,
of course.
I know, right? Dracula can freaking summon himself on a random chance to appear on this field as a boss fight.
Yeah.
Just out of the blue, like, hey, 50 games of this thing, nothing might happen. 51st, Dracula's gonna mess your shit up, and that's so cool. Just the thought of that, I was like, holy crap!
Yeah, and Rathalos too from Monster Hunter is coming in as a boss and an assist trophy, and there was actually some rumors regarding that. If you don't mind me going off on that real quick,
Of course.
So there was a mode at the end they showed that was grayed out, and nobody can figure out what it is.
Right, the Mosaic.
Right. A lot of people are hoping it's Subspace Emissary because a lot of us really, really like that. So what people noticed was the Monster Hunter level, and this is secondhand knowledge. I haven't verified this myself, but a friend of mine was talking to me about this, and what he said was people noticed the Monster Hunter level was not in the stage select screen, and it was just basically a flat terrain, which would give the impression, hold on, that's just like what happens when you run through Subspace Emissary. Those aren't actual maps. They're just, themed stages. And so there was a Monster Hunter Rathalos boss on this map that we've never seen before that's not in the 103 they showed. So it was like, is this going to be, is this going to be a thing? I don't know. So that's what some people are rumoring. I would like it to be Subspace Emissary, but yeah, the boss mechanic is really cool.
That would be awesome. And I thank you to the article for NintendoEverything.com because this is probably the most direct. However, they don't list everything that chronologically appeared on the direct. I could do that, but I'm just going to run down the list as they are. I'm going to say the probably the biggest thing in my eyes that they did and probably hyped everybody up was the reveal of King. Should I call him K. Rool or King Cruel? I don't know.
I call him K. Rool.
K-Rool. I always call him K-Rool, but the joke is, it's supposed to be Cruel.
That makes sense. I'm looking at the name here.
Oh, wow.
Like, it's probably, again, you're talking like I'm somebody who's never played Smash games, though.
So, probably the three most demanded things I could think of for characters to come to the Switch is Ridley, King K-Rool, and then probably Waluigi at the top, because so obviously they gave Ridley, and so people are just focusing like crazy with, of course, a Twitter account dedicated to getting K. Rool on Smash, posting like every 15 minutes about how cool it would be. And I feel like this is you said Sakurai said that the love for Waluigi is fake. I feel like it's like 10 times worse for K. Rool.
I agree. I think that K. Rool was in, Donkey Kong Country games and 64, but he was just a villain. Like, I think the idea of putting in a villain from Donkey Kong makes sense because it's a pretty big series and we don't have a villain yet. But it's like this K. Rool hype, I guarantee you, is from people who have no interest. Like, it's a bandwagon thing. I guarantee you a very big portion of it is those people don't know or care about K. Rool. And like, I know about K. Rool. I don't care really. Like, that's my position on it. But I'm like, okay, cool.
I mean, it's like, okay, he has the thing that shoots a cannonball. He throws his crown. Great. Apparently, he has like some kind of reflective armor ability that he has now. And I have no care for him. I was like, honestly, I would have taken Eggman over K. Rool at this point, because if they got Sonic in there and they're going to start introducing, more villains, I think Eggman and his, maybe like some kind of mech or something like that would have been much more interesting.
No, honestly, Eggman with his walker potentially, although that's a little older, from maybe just Eggman with his little flying thing. I do think Shadow is going to be an Echo fighter. I think that's going to happen for sure.
That does make sense because another thing that we saw was we had the Echo Samus, aka Dark Samus, which is the main antagonist of the Metroid Prime series. Well, technically it's second in the three. Metroid Dark Samus makes an appearance at the very end, I believe, of a secret ending of Prime, but let's be real. Sorry, I know, spoiler alert for a 12, 13, 14-year-old game.
That's okay. I think that's past the barrier for spoilers,
So we have Dark Samus as an Echo. Then we have Chrom for Fire Emblem doing the Echo for Roy. So I love Roy. Chrom's pretty cool too, so that's awesome too. So does everybody know what Echoes are in this group here?
Yeah, definitely. So just to explain, Echoes are basically they're alternate skins, but also alternate voices and maybe even some changes to animations of characters that already exist. So rather than just a color of Peach being, a Daisy-like color, it's now actually just Daisy voiced with a slightly different animations, but they're not completely new characters.
But they have the same or almost the same type attack styles and everything, so they got the same moves and all that. Okay, that does make sense because to me, when I hear that, in Super Smash Bros. Melee, Ganondorf was a Captain Falcon clone, but technically, if you think about it, I guess he'd be more of an Echo, but he did have one or two attacks that were different.
Yeah.
He had the charge grapple attack that he could grab somebody, which was different from Captain Falcon because he would just punch him and knock him up. He wouldn't grapple him.
And funny enough, if you look at Richter and Simon, the Belmonts, so they were definitely developed, or at least had the idea around the same time, because the moveset that Simon has as the primary also includes some of Richter's moves from the games that Simon doesn't have.
Right,
so they were developed
that.
with the idea in mind of like, okay, yeah, we're making both of these and just one of them is going to be the Echo Fighter. But they even said in direct, Sakurai said, like, I'm not sure. The translator said, who's really the Echo Fighter? I'm not sure. But yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. See, we got a few stages. As I mentioned, they got the Dracula's Castle, which they did a good job with the animation, showing Luigi trying to pretend he's a Ghostbuster in there. Oh, this is, Luigi's Mansion 3.
Yeah.
And then, immediately gets murdered.
Yeah.
Which brings up a good question. Is Luigi dead now? Is that canon?
I don't think so.
He's got reaped.
They did this with Mario too, and I think it's just like them poking fun at the fact that they're just going to kill some of their characters, but not, of course, for canon. But
I was going to say, I don't know much. Like, this is not my thing, but I do remember seeing a still of Mario being killed as well.
Yeah.
Okay, because the point of the Grim Reaper was to showcase the Death Scythe. I don't remember what it's called specifically. An item that does I was about to say butt ton, a shit ton of damage to anybody that's high percentage.
Fuck ton.
Yeah,
a butt fuck ton.
A metric butt fuck ton. Okay, thank you. Great. There goes all. Oh boy, I'm sorry.
We haven't gotten spicy in a minute, so I just wanted to bring that back.
Yeah.
So we got that. We also have New Donk City Hall, which is another interesting interactive thing where random people of the band will appear, where if you hit them or touch them, it'll slowly activate, kind of like collecting the 4 pieces of the supercharge attack that you could use in Brawl. Mm-hmm. And if you get all of them, it'll activate a band essentially, and all of a sudden you got like the new cool updated version of the song just going full force, and it's like, I could be into that. I'm a big fan of music. Like,
all of a sudden you have a vocal track in Smash, so my day's made. So
it's like you're playing New Donk City, and you're hearing like the trumpet and stuff, and all of a sudden you hit the saxophone, so you get the saxophone going, and then finally you see oh gosh, what is the name of the girl? Pauline.
Paulina.
I think it might be just Pauline. I'm going to fight you on that.
It might be. I mean, go look it up, but
no, I say it's Pauline. Yeah. So you hit Pauline, all of a sudden vocals, and
no, I was asking really, like, you could go look it up. I don't know. I just think it's Paulina. Let's
see, Paulene. Pauline. Yeah, it's Pauline.
Oh, okay.
It might be Pauline, but honestly, it ends with an E.
Gotcha. I mean, I don't care about Mario too much, so
of course, yeah, just credit your own fight. That's fine. So they also wanted to point out that there's over 100 stages in the game, but it's actually going to be a total of more than 300 because there's going to be Omega versions and Battlefield versions of each stage. So you got the standard stage, and all of a sudden it's like after it gets terrorized by Omega energy and all that stuff. So it's similar, but it's also going to look aesthetically different. So you got a lot about that. Also, stages start at the beginning. You pick the stage before you pick the characters now.
Yep. And the rules before you pick the characters.
So now instead of picking your favorite character and thinking that you'll do best in each situation, now you can tailor fit your character to whatever kind of atmosphere.
Yep.
Of course, everybody picks Final Destination, so whatever. But if you're actually going to try to have fun with the game, you got that now. You can also turn off hazards, which is another cool thing, because if you want to play a certain level, but like, in the Super Smash Bros. 64, you want to play Hyrule Castle, but you got sick of those swirly tornadoes, you can get rid of them now. They'll disappear. Cool. Let's see. There's also a new design where if you want to play one stage, but maybe your friend wants to play another one, there's also stage morph. So you can switch between two stages. It'll, every so time, or you can set it for random, it'll just randomly turn into a different field because yeah, sure. It's fun. I thought that was a great idea. Music, this is probably another big thing for me. Over 900 different compositions of music throughout the entire games, plus more, is coming into this game right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it states very specifically over 28 hours of video game music.
Yep.
So
they had a little thing where they were like, yeah, you can even plug in your headphones and put your Switch in your bag and listen to it like an MP3 player. I'm like, all right, now who's going to do that, though? Like, let's be real. Like,
I'm going to totally rip the OST. I'm not going to lie, but like, you can even turn off the Switch and carry it with you and listen to it as you go. But
please use this giant tablet as an MP3 player, please.
Hey, maybe it's a thing.
No, but it's like Bluetooth. Like, you'll buy a foot massager and it'd be like, oh, and it also has Bluetooth, and you'd never wonder why would I need Bluetooth on that? But with technology buffs, it doesn't matter. It has Bluetooth.
Right.
Like really, you'd buy anything just
it's
because
bragging right.
If they sell you an Attack on Titan pin that has Bluetooth that does absolutely nothing, but you can connect your phone to it, you'd buy it.
I mean, I might not because I'd be scared of it. Because why would that pin have Bluetooth? But I get the idea.
Imagine.
Okay,
Okay, it has Bluetooth because you can use it as a touch screen. You can write the pen on it, so you can Well, I mean, I don't like touch screens. They're evil. Okay, I was thinking like a drawing pen, like drawing tablets electronically. You could have a Bluetooth pen, but you could just Bluetooth it to your phone and just do it like that instead. Oh, okay, so that's nice. I was just making it up to humor you,
So like having the Switch as a portable MP3 player is just kind of like well, you didn't ask for it, but we just thought it'd be cool for you to have it. So use it if you want to. Don't use it. We don't care. Just buy the game.
Yep. All right, fair enough. A couple other things. There's more Pokemon. There's more Sis trophies. Woo! Ooh, is there any characters that you would particularly are excited for? Because let's see, a couple of new ones coming out. You got Zero from Mega Man X, Knuckles from Sonic the Hedgehog, Crystal from Star Fox, Rathalos from the Monster Hunter series, and Shovel Knight from Shovel Knight. Yep. And then of course, you got the entire moon from Chora's Mask you can have come crashing in. Yep. Yeah, I think this is just overall, they're adding too much to the game to the point where it's going to be, you can't really make another Smash after this. And that's going to be a problem unless they power gap and then do a reboot or something like, honestly, what Marvel vs. Capcom did and what fighting games do often, which is like, okay, we actually put too much content, or not too much, but we finished this game and we now can't expand the roster anymore. We can't expand the stages or music anymore. So we have to wait until people forget about it and then start over again, pretty much, which might be what they have to do with this. I guess the big question is, if you want a game to be the ultimate experience, how do you plan that? Because you can either plan to where you want to have more content in the future, or you want to we got everything, we can do everything. Do we throttle ourselves to have the next game be something better, or do we make the best damn thing we can find right here and right now? And it seems like Sakurai might be actually saying, let's pull all the stops. We got to do everything right here and now. It's a really risky move for the future, but it means this game's going to be big. And it's something to consider, too, is just Sakurai's involvement with all of this, because he's been the director of Smash for quite a while, and every time he says it's his last Smash, he does not want to make another, but every time the fan demand makes him come back and make one. So this is also something you have to consider about the idea that Sakurai is getting older, and he's directed a lot of Smash Bros. Games. This is the ultimate version. He might really be done after this, and this also might be an aspect of, I'm the guy who makes Smash. Smash is going to be done. Smash is done for a while. This is all we can do. This is the maximum. Because when you go to a different engine on another console for example, you could build off this if the next console was, Switch in strength or something like that. Sure. You could always build off of it and add more and do an ultimate version of the ultimate version. But you can't take all of this easily and translate it into a new engine, is my point. So you have to redo everything. And it'll always feel bad to go down in content, which is why they probably have to wait a long time till people kind of don't think about Smash as a thing that could come back for a long time. But then when it does, it becomes great. Smash is back as a reboot, and not Smash is back, but there's so few content and it doesn't matter. And it could also turn into a service game with regular, smaller DLCs that they could add. But I also see it as a way to this big, huge Smash game that everybody's been asking for that also nobody really wanted, but also as a way to move more people over into the Switch, right? As much as they're still putting out things for the 3DS and still pushing, trying to keep it alive for a little bit longer, I think they're still trying to get as many people over to the Switch as they can. Definitely, yeah. And I think the 3DS thing is finally starting to die because they finally reported that they stagnated on it. So finally. All right, fair enough. I just want to mention a few last modes that, they're completely new mostly new. You got Stamina Battle, which we know that as the Master Hand Battle. You try to whittle down health from 300 to 0. Yep, and Stamina was in early Smashes as well. It just wasn't a main option you could pick. Okay. You got Squad Strike, which almost Marvel vs. Capcom style, but you can't, introduce them as assist or support characters. You can have players, either two players do 5-on-5 or 3-on-3 skirmishes, or you could have a person controlling, 5 versus 5 different people having their own controller, getting ready to go into the pit one versus one at a time, which is crazy. Yep. Go Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's a lot like actually the Tenkaichi, Dragon Ball Z Tenkaichi system that you could do for team battles.
Yeah,
it's pretty much the same
remember
thing.
that now. Oh boy. There's also tourney mode. You can have up to 32 people just go ape shit, face each other down. The one I like the most, and the last one mentioned here, is Smashdown. Pretty much just we're gonna play for a while. We're gonna have fun here. Pretty much, you can pick 1v1, but then that character disappears from the thing, and you just keep playing and play each character until there's nothing left, and whoever won the most wins. And I thought that was cool. Allows people to play completely different characters and instead of trying to specialize. You can also try to be a dick and then say, hey, I'm going to pick your best character right off the get-go, so you can't touch them ever again. And I thought that was cool. So, anything else that you guys want to talk about for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate?
Nope, it's Ultimate.
Yep, fair enough. And Cam, show floor is yours. Go ahead and talk about it.
Okay, listen, people, listen. So, recently you might have seen in the news that Emu Paradise got taken down, which is the premier pirating site, I will say, for ROMs, for, video game ROMs, and ISOs. Rest in peace. So the reason why this is significant is this was the biggest of all of them. This was the one that was, honestly, I'd say the only one that was verified to a point where you knew you weren't getting malware with your download, basically. You knew that it was a legit thing, that there's not going to be any extra stuff, that everything was what it needed to be. And so this was the most verified place, the most extensive place you could get all this stuff. And so this goes down. And Nintendo had a part, but they did it themselves. This wasn't a DM take down everything. They did it themselves, considering piracy and what's going around right now, because Nintendo recently took down 2 other sites. So here's the thing, a lot of people say, Nintendo has to hit those patents. They have to make sure they pursue them. And that's true. But this really just only hurts the industry and hurts the future. I don't talk about it much, but I'm very big on video game preservation. And when sites like Emu Paradise go down, we lose things actually to time, because good game companies don't document their past as well as we would like a lot of other things do. And we also have to consider the availability of games. So I'll say, at least from my personal perspective, not necessarily a perspective for the entire podcast, but I'll speak for myself here and say that I think it's completely justified to torrent a game and pirate a game if it's not available in any other form, if the company's not made it available. So if there's no way, for example, to legally buy the old version of DuckTales or legally run the old version of DuckTales via any virtual console, no qualms in pirating that and playing that, because they have not provided the option to me. But that's still a piece of gaming history. It's still a piece of art, if you consider games art, right? And from that perspective, it really, really sucks, because there's a lot of stuff that we lose here, talking about, beta versions of games, Japanese, Spanish versions of games, just different types of games, basically, that we keep losing every time one of these sites goes down, which may be, besides somebody's hard drive, the only place that this game exists. Because a good example, actually, Nintendo, funny enough, considering how they feel about emulators, allegedly the Wii version of Super Mario Bros. Or World, I forget which one it was, but the virtual console one that they put out was actually not from their own company. They couldn't find it. They couldn't find the original ROM they had for Mario Bros. So they went and downloaded one and sold it to you. And using open source emulators and things like that, because they verified, they looked at the hexadecimal code and saw that the Wii version, virtual console version of the game, had the headers that the amateurs put on when they ROM hacked it, made it runnable on an emulator. So even Nintendo is downloading this stuff and reselling it, but that's to the point that they don't document their own past. This stuff is lost to time if these pirating sites go down. And in terms of, video game history and that sort of thing, it's incredibly important to keep that all documented. So I'm super against this. I think in some cases, what the company should really look at, and as an example here, because there's a legal way you can do this. And Frank Cifaldi, who's a game historian, talked a lot about this at a GDC talk in 2016, I want to say. And what he talked about basically was companies can use emulators to their advantage. A lot of stuff is open source now and practically complete in terms of what they can run. And open source means you can use it under a GNU 2 license, I believe, for commercial use, which means Nintendo could go grab these emulators if they're open source, use them and sell their own ROMs to people for a subscription service or a very cheap price. But the fact that none of these are available now, they're not categorized everywhere, it becomes necessary at that point for pirates and people downloading that stuff to actually preserve game history. So I just want to riff about that, basically, because that going down is a travesty, and protect what you can, get what you can.
Absolutely. Nick, thoughts?
I agree with Cam. Completely caught me off guard. I love it, Tyler. No, I remember I mentioned this a few times before. I went back home recently this past December, and I bought my PS2 with me here to Canada. and some of the earliest games. First game I ever played was Crash Bandicoot 2. Right, we debated very much on the name of this game, and I think it's still Red.
Right. We debated on this.
Or something, whatever it is. And then the next game I remember playing was Mega Man Legends 2. And for some reason, about 8 months ago, I felt a deep need to like play that game again and to go through that game again. And the only way I could do that was through an emulator, because there's no way you'd be able to get it now, right? Sure, they could charge you some money. Same thing with the NES Classic that they re-released and they put out for production again. If Nintendo, as Camp said, were smart about it, instead of taking down the site or DMCA's, been like, all right, I'm gonna buy the Nintendo section of your site.
Yeah, no, not
work
even
with us.
Yeah,
by the people, like work with us, and then we'll put this game out. Well, I'm thinking about like, well, it's not. They're just not limited to Nintendo games, right? They've got all sorts of Capcom games, right? So let's say they just buy the Nintendo section of their site, work with us. We'll put it up. We'll make an official site. We'll make it look nice and pretty. You just keep doing what you do, and we'll give you a little bit of money. Right?
Yeah,
and that little bit of money would be more than enough for the people running it right now, anyways, right? So.
I was even under the impression, like, my opinion, honestly, is that the people who make the emulators, the people who categorize this stuff, the game companies should go and hire them as a team, honestly. They should hire them as a team to set up a subscription-like service for them. I think that individual downloads, unless they're like 99 cents each, will be tough because there's so many games that people don't care about too much, but are still historically important to have. So it'd be good to have a subscription service, because we have to consider that the virtual consoles, right, like Wii Virtual Console, Wii U, whatever, they maybe put like 150 games on there. Maybe there's, 70 NES games. There's 1,700 different NES games in terms of different versions of the games and things like that. And so much of the catalog is missing when you don't, and nobody has it. Nintendo doesn't have it. The only way it's out there is on people's hard drives, out in the pirating world, and that sort of thing. And a good example, just really quick to wrap things up, basically, is think about legitimately buying something. Like theoretically, in your case, I would say, like, yes, you can go buy Mega Man Legacy Collection, or not Legacy Collection, sorry. You can go buy Legends 2, physical still, but you have to buy it from a reseller, not from Nintendo. You're not giving them money, or you're not giving, in that case, right? You're not giving Capcom money.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, your example earlier didn't include going to flea markets or game or retro video game stores, because we're talking about it being made available directly from the seller. Like, what if you're in Europe and they're selling Mega Man Legends 2 only in North America? It's still not being made accessible to you, so the only way you can do it is either have a friend that you have in the States ship it over to you, or get an emulator.
Yep. And the thing I want to compare here is if you compare the film industry as an example, right? What Frank Cifaldi did in his talk, actually, GDC, was great. He took a random movie from the same year as, I think it was DuckTales, where he was like, okay, so here's DuckTales. We can't get the original version really anymore. We have the remaster, but that's not the original version. And he took a couple other games. I think he just went through a random year and found like one of the less popular games and was like, okay, mid-popularity. He found a random movie from the 90s, right? Just a random one in the middle of the 90s. And he's like, oh, look, it has a Blu-ray release you can buy currently. It has an HD release you can buy currently. It has a pack-in release you can buy currently. You can get it on YouTube. You can get it on Netflix. You can get it on all these different streaming services, Hulu, all of these services. And there were like 13 different ways to get this random crappy 90s movie. And he's like, okay, what are the official ways to get this game? Oh, look, there are none. So that's my point. None. Where it becomes almost necessary to.
You go on Amazon and pay $300 for a cartridge that might.
But there's the point is those are official releases, right? Those are official, licensed releases, and games don't do that. And game as a whole, the gaming industry is very bad at taking care of its history, and not just the games, but documentation surrounding the games as well. So I think that in this case, Emu Paradise Takedown was a travesty, and we probably lost stuff because of that.
Absolutely.
Like a part of it is also, as you mentioned, as a whole, the gaming industry is really not that old as compared to the film industry or even like the art industry, right? Because you can find paintings from the 1400s, the 1500s, movies all the way from back when they were first being made. There's really we're still evolving, the industry is still evolving, and there's no need, there hasn't been any need until now, or at least mainstream need for documentation, archives of old video games, and those being, accessible to people. So hopefully it's going to evolve and hopefully it changes soon. But Yeah.
Yeah, we hope. Because the reality of the situation is like, it's easy. People considered it, it's easier to port over films because of, it's a video and you can put it on different formats. But it's, gaming is really just like, it's already been made available on multiple formats on your PC, on Windows, on Linux, on all those things. It's already available that way. People have already done the legwork for the full sets of every cartridge-based console and most CD-based consoles. That legwork's already done. So just make it happen in a legitimate way, and we cannot lose our history while also not pirating, right? And the company can get more money. They're basically being idiots by doing this, is what I'm saying. They're being complete retards. But yeah.
All right. Fair enough. Now, I would like to point out, for the sake of the podcast, the topic of the show is whatever we put our most passion into. Mm-hmm. So that being said, it feels like we just covered the topic of the show.
Guess so.
So I would like to pose this as a small question then, if I could. The original topic of the show, no longer such. Number ratings versus summary ratings versus descriptive reviews.
Yep.
What is the best thing that you think you would look forward to when it comes to trying to figure out if you'd like a game?
For me, descriptive reviews, but I think that descriptive reviews are objectively, I would say, honestly, objectively, they're more detailed. They give you more information. They're better for understanding a game. But there's usefulness for everything else. I think numbers are incredibly useful if you trust or know the personality behind a reviewer. So say even a random video game reviewer like a Pro Jared or something like that, right? Or an Angry Joe or something like that, where it's like, okay, well, I know Pro Jared's biases. I know where he stands on different genres. So a number from him tells me things. I know him already. A number from IGN tells us stuff because we know about IGN. To a lesser extent because their writers are more decentralized. But the number score is useful if you know who the people are behind it and you know their proclivities, basically. But in the end, descriptive is what I want. So
fair enough. Personally, I think that number ratings should be abolished completely.
Ooh.
God, vicious, because since we are all subjective people versus an objective number rating system, there's no way that unless it's the same exact person, as Cam would say, we can't compare what people say over at IGN, their number, compared to what people over at GameSpot would say, because we have no idea how that compares. Mm-hmm. And then when we try to, we rationalize the numbers in such a way that the information becomes askew. And that is dog shit. Mm-hmm. Keep the nightclub running here.
Yeah.
Now, personally, I believe that a descriptive review is best for people who want to, really get into it. I don't know much about this game, but I trust your words. Please give me the time to do this with a summary rating at the end. Mm-hmm. Tell me the great dirty details about this game. And then at the end, just give me a quick rundown. Maybe I didn't want to read everything. Tell me what you liked about this game. What isn't so good? And, the final word. Do you recommend buying it?
Yep.
That's absolutely what I need. Number ratings can kiss my butt.
And that's the thing, like you said, yeah. And what we talked about is you can't compare an 8 from one company to an 8 to another, and sometimes even 8s within the same company. I think I don't watch the videos.
Screw it over because they make each person look at a chart, say, hey. Yep. You need to understand what an 8 means in this company. Mm-hmm. And some people still can't do it.
So there was a video I actually saw on this, and I think it was Dunkey. I don't watch many of his videos, but I saw this. It was critiquing the review process, and what he was saying was IGN has at any given time they feature 30 different writers, right? So if you get a answer from IGN, you don't know necessarily who that answer is coming from unless you follow the different authors. And the point he made was he showed footage about Sonic 4, the game that came out, and IGN in so many different places was saying different things about the games. People representing IGN on screen would said Sonic was always terrible. The review said Sonic was great. Everything was saying different stuff. So it's more important, that number score is useful, I think, if you want if you know the single person and know their, biases when they're reviewing, as I said before, and you trust their opinion, right? So if I started reviewing stuff and giving numbers and you knew what I liked and what I didn't like, and you were jiving with that, then an 8 for me means something. But if you didn't, yeah.
Ironically enough, there's only one person I listen to enough that I would I want your opinion on this game. Tell me if you like it or not. And that person actually doesn't give number scores, so he doesn't like it either. So it's oh man, irony itself. Nick, what do you think, buddy?
I understand your issue with number ratings. That's if it was coming from one person. I think number ratings, they look good on paper. in terms of like, all right, this is his franchise breakdown. They made 25 games. These are what they all scored typically as the years have gone by. So you can sort of see a trend where they've risen, where they've fallen, what's done well, what hasn't. I think it needs to work similar to how Rotten Tomatoes works, where it's an aggregate score of people's things. This is just an idea of mine.
Metacritic.
Whatever it is. One of those
Rotten Tomatoes, because Rotten Tomatoes has been heavily influenced in ways that isn't, average score views, as it's been shown.
It's whichever one of those are, because
Metacritic, though, yes.
General, like I feel like number ratings would be good as like a general public perception or whatever the public is from general people who play in an industry. So let's say you have 5 different companies that do all these reviews. You've got IGN 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then you have maybe 40 people in their critique team who review a game, and each 40 of them, so that's 40 times 5, that's 200 people. So now you have an aggregate score of over 200 people. So just as a quick flash, all right, this is what 200 people thought of this game. I think that could work for, if you're just going through like a listing of games released last year.
But then, should I trust that those people know what that score means to every other person that's doing the same review?
Going back to what you guys were talking about, then you'd have to all right, then you kind of have to know, who these people are, what they're doing. So that's the issue with it. So I'm not saying it's perfect, but that would probably make a little bit more sense, because then it seems a little bit more democratic, if I can say.
Of course. I don't mean to play you on the defensive, because
no.
I know why people like numbers.
I think, number scores are incredibly useful for what I do, but not from the perspective of should I buy a game, because I evaluate that myself with Description. But in regards to gauging the industry from a podcast perspective, from a coverage perspective, that's incredibly important, because I can look at a game and say, okay, here's the general consensus of this game that the industry feels, and they might not be right, but that's their consensus.
Yeah,
and so exactly. I use number scores quite often. You'll hear, if you listen to Into the Video Game, you'll hear us often saying it was a Metacritic blank about the game, seeing what the general perception was. But there's also, what really sucks is a lot of bias there, where there's a bigger bias towards AAA games. Like AAA games can't do bad on Metacritic honestly a very extensive margin, to the point where the Metacritic scores are not reflective of real life. Like 5 should be average, but in Metacritic scores, 5 is like, this game should not exist. It is completely unplayable. You don't see AAA 5s. You don't at all. Even Mass Effect Andromeda, I think, was 70 something on Metacritic, whereas Japanese games, that I would say there's a little bit of a bias against Japanese games, or maybe for Western games, where people don't take the time to understand them a lot of the times. Like famously, there was a old Persona 3 interview that just did not understand Persona one fucking bit, and they got everything wrong, and they gave it a shitty score. And there's just a lot of that, where you look at a game like Andromeda getting a 70 something, and then you'll see a much more competently made game, and from a design perspective, something that does not break, has lower score than Andromeda. And it's like,
yeah,
come on.
So I was gonna say, like, it's like movie ratings as well, like IMDb or whatever. It's kind of like, I'll Google a movie that came out, and if I want to go see it, I'll look at the ratings. If it's a completely new movie, if it's not connected to any franchise before, and be like, okay, maybe, because I've been in plenty of movies where the IMDb is like 2.
Yeah.
But I've had a good time. Mm-hmm. Sure, I recognize the faults with it, but it's just a funny movie, and I had a good time. Right?
Exactly.
I do prefer summary ratings in general, but more for franchises that I know. So there was a new Halo game that came out, and I saw a summary rating, a pros and cons review, because then they'd probably compare it to previous Halo titles. Yep. Like, oh, this game has this, but this game didn't have this, and this game removed this that this game had. Mm-hmm. Right? So I prefer those. Descriptive reviews, not so much, in case they give away too much. So I prefer watching people play the game. So I prefer watching gameplay of it to make up my own mind of whether I enjoy it.
Video reviews.
That too.
Yeah, so video reviews are my main thing. If I'm like, all right, this is a brand new single player game, convince me. And the only way you could really do that is by showing me gameplay of it.
Mm-hmm. I would say that'd probably be the number one way. Video review for sure. Better than any words you could give me, because I can see for myself.
For me particularly, not even video review, but just straight a video. So like not cut up to look nice.
Yeah, even that. Just start from the beginning.
What am I playing?
Show me the first 10 minutes.
Raw footage.
Yeah. Or show me like 20 minutes somewhere in between where I have no idea of the context, and you're doing all this crazy, wonderful shit, and I'm like, okay, that's got me.
Basically, we should get demo discs again, is what we're saying. Anyway.
Okay.
Demo discs. Hell yes. I remember playing an ET demo on my PlayStation 2 for God knows how.
We should get demos. We should still have demos in games, I think, or at least downloadable demos for almost everything. Like, give us demos so we can evaluate it ourselves, honestly. But yeah.
My dear podcasters, we are getting long in the tooth.
Oh.
It is as the usual. We are having a good time. Time flies by. However, we have something that we've never experienced before, gentlemen.
Oh.
We've received an email.
Wonderful.
An email from somebody who's interested in talking to us.
Okay.
I will not lie. This is not a prologue. This is chapter 1 of the love letter that this gentleman...
Oh, hold on. Are you going to read the whole email? Is that fully necessary?
Ooh. I mean,
there's a question in here, right? Or
there's a question that he posed on Twitter as well.
Okay, well, I think we should hit those, but
I will... Okay, I'll tell you what.
Generally, I think what's good is a summary of what he's talking about. Then we hit us with the questions because I saw that email too, and it's very long. So,
all right, I will summarize it as best as I can then.
Yep.
This is from Papa Los. His name is Carlos, but he likes Los. I'm gonna out him, but that's okay.
What's up, Los?
What's up, my Los? Dearest Casual Master Questers, you gave 2 email addresses on episode 13. I figured to just write the both. I always get excited when I hear somebody says we never get emails. It's like a challenge. Good, because that's the point. I was trying to challenge somebody, and you did it. You completed the challenge. Good job.
Congratulations.
Like you said, it's personal, like writing a letter. No one really does that anymore, right? No one. Okay, like the IRS and your grandma, but no one tells you she just signed up, or only they tell you she just signed up to this thing called Facebook. And then he proceeds to talk in length about each of the games that we love the most. He starts off with Nick, of course, showing that he loves and adores Destiny so much. He stopped for a while. He gives it appreciate it. No Man's Sky, on the other hand, he has apparently been playing a lot, and he's really appreciating its majestic comeback. He apparently also hasn't played the PS4 and Xbox for a long time, but No Man's Sky brought him back, so that's good. Pokemon Go, he would like to give a shout out to, alongside with Pokemon Sun and Moon. I'm going to read this out specifically for Cam.
I don't have my props with me, unfortunately, but
I am new to Pokemon, with Sun and Moon being my first time playing the series. And apparently this triggered Cam.
It did. It triggered me to the point where I was like, I heard that and I went blank. Like, I read that line, I went blank, and I was like, no, sit down. I have 30 games you need to play.
Fantastic. So you inspired Cam to want to, please let me show you the way.
Yeah, let me show you the world, man. Like, I didn't bring the props, but I have a box of Pokemon games. Like, all my Pokemon stuff's in a box, and I have about 30 different cartridges, I think. So it's yeah. If you need any information on where to go next in terms of Pokemon, if you want to expand the horizons, hit me up on Twitter. I think we're following each other now on Twitter, actually, Lo. So just DM me on Twitter or something like that, and I will give you all the recs you need.
Yes. So he's gotten on Nick's good side by mentioning Destiny and then No Man's Sky.
I like him.
Los decided to appeal to Cam, of course, by mentioning Senpai, I'm not a Pokemon. Please.
Also by
the way. Oh boy. And then apparently he gets me with the sweet talking about Pokemon Go. So okay, fine, you win. He'd like to suggest that we play the game called Yoku's Island Express.
Yes, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I think that was that pinball game that we mentioned at the end that was coming out.
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. He says it's so much more than pinball, I felt. Charming and absolutely perfect for pickup and go playing between bigger sessions of chunkier games. So, think of the enjoyment that you get from Fortnite, but on the go.
It's that slot, yep.
He'd like to also apologize that he wrote us a small novel, and that's totally okay. Los, I would love to read the whole thing, but unfortunately, I was asked by my co-host to, cut it down. Don't worry, though. I'm going to read the whole question because we sent out asking for questions. And of course, Los jumped on because he loves his name being mentioned.
And I would say just real quick. So I don't think that I read the entire email. We read the entire email, and I appreciate that a lot. I just don't think it's useful to recite the entire email on podcast.
True.
But we read that, and then we pare it down.
We discussed it in length. In fact, we probably could write
I think it's just because this is one of the longest emails I've ever received.
Oh, Lordy, you got Los, please. Making me warm.
Yeah.
And so on Twitter, I sent the call out. He answered his question, and he is the elusive man. And there is a one there. I'm going to let you find out, but it's an illusion once you find out what it is. Good luck. Because emails aren't enough, apparently. Here's a question. If you could mash up 2 Nintendo franchises and make a Game of the Year contender out of it, what would it be? And he says, franchises, game type, etc. So we talked about it before. Apparently, since I mentioned a game that is correlated to Epic, And it can't be an evil hybrid. It has to be first party only.
But that's what the question asks for, Tyler.
Well, I'm willing to diverge from
franchise.
It's not like Los has the holy
it's not
law.
Games on the Nintendo consoles. It says Nintendo
I think questions are the holy law. I think questions are the holy law on a podcast. So if you get asked a question,
literally the written rules by which we have to answer and provide an answer.
Absolutely. Okay, then. Cam, go ahead.
All right, so my thought process is pretty much just like go ahead and I guess and put Pokemon with Fire Emblem, and by that I mean make Pokemon Conquest 2, because it's a game of the year for me.
Okay, Nick.
I thought about this last night, and given my limited knowledge on Nintendo franchises as a whole in terms of gameplay, because I haven't really played a lot of them, I was thinking either a Mario Odyssey type, but with Pokemon. But so like the true RPG Pokemon experience that we've always wanted, right? So
so you want a Breath of the Wild Pokemon, I think is where you're getting.
Oh, no. Yeah. So I was going to say a Breath of the Wild Pokemon would be basically Breath of the Wild, but you pick a Pokemon that you want to play as, and then you just run around as that Pokemon and basically fight other Pokemons and solve as a Pokemon, right? But when like the Mario Odyssey RPG, you're running around the world fighting Team Rocket with Pokemon by your side, doing all these crazy, like, it's still like a platformer game where you have your trainer do things, jumping around.
Pokemon Let's Go Eevee.
But then, no. I've never heard of those games ever in my life. Those games do not exist.
I think Pixelmon, there was a Minecraft mod called Pixelmon. If you guys are familiar at all, it got taken down potentially to make Pokemon Quest because the models look similar. But really, I just want Pixelmon to be a real thing. So that's another option right there, is not via Minecraft, but via the idea of, everybody jokes and has the idea and always has about the true Pokemon experience, which is like, let's have an open world Pokemon game with everything where you find things in different terrains, a lot like how Pixelmon did it. That's always an option. I think for me, making it a game of the year, like, everybody's game of the year game is going to be incredibly difficult because mashing up two Nintendo series, I don't feel like gets you that. That gets you like a cool novelty. But for me, like I said, a Fire Emblem-esque SRPG Pokemon, just like Pokemon Conquest was, but crossed over with Nobunaga's Ambition, that would be like my personal, where it'd be like, yep, no, that was one of my favorite games this year. Definitely.
So, Tyler, have you thought carefully about the next few things you're going to be saying?
Regrettably, yes. I have most certainly not. I was hoping I could sneak out, but Nick did the smart move and transitioned over to me. There is one thing I kind of liked in WindWaker, and I can correlate this in a completely different format. One of the things that you get to do in WindWaker specifically is you get the pictograph. You get to take pictures of stuff you can use and turn into 3D models and whatnot. So in my head, the idea, if I could, and I proposed this in a similar idea before on a different podcast, imagine Pokemon Snap, but it's open world, and you got to take a picture of different Zelda scenarios. Like, you don't interact with them, you don't do dungeons or whatnot, but your goal as a photographer is trying to solve the puzzles by taking pictures of them, and maybe take pictures and watch and interact with the different AIs of the world in the Zelda universe. Now, in my head, I was like, not just Zelda, make it every world. Maybe you're exploring Mushroom Kingdom, or you're doing Super Smash Bros. Style, where you just go into each hub and you
Nintendo Snap.
Are you
Nintendo Snap? You're just walking around and you're like,
Super
Snap RPG.
Super Snap Brother.
You've been contacted by a suspicious magazine trying to find dirt about Princess Peach. So you're just walking around Princess Peach's castle.
Snap PI.
And then you're trying to get a picture
Detective
of Princess
Pikachu.
Peach.
Detective Pikachu. That's going to be the name of the game.
Oh.
Wait, that exists.
No. Super Snap Brothers is something. We're onto something here. Hold on.
Like Nintendo Snap, as he called it. I do like the idea of that, as a photographer, it's almost Hitman style, where you try to find a way to get your goal met by walking around and looking as inconspicuous, but you're trying to take a picture of random things. And maybe, try to figure out why Link couldn't get through this dungeon and figure out who's been, interfering with it.
If you got the Paper Mario writers, you know what I mean? Like that sort of humor, that sort of like Mario-esque comedy on that. And in terms of the storylines, that could be really, really good.
And so that was the answer to my question for a potential game of the year. So.
I was going to say, one thing I noticed is, early on you went there as well. I went there, Nick went there. We all went to Pokemon. And I think the reason why we all went to Pokemon, because that's something that, of course, happens quite often, is because Game Freak is really bad at actually doing stuff with their franchise. Make more spin-off games, Game Freak.
In my defense, though, I said Pokemon Snap strictly for the the idea of taking pictures.
Right.
I didn't want to mention Pokemon because that's an easy one.
Yep.
But I wanted to
because nobody does anything with it.
Oh, sure. Okay, fine. Okay, so that's going to be it for the show. We're going to wrap it up here. Game releases this week. I've actually only found 2. If you found any more, go right ahead. The Walking Dead, the final season, episode 1, coming out for PS4, Xbox One, and PC this August 14th, which is in fact Tuesday. So if you're listening to the podcast as soon as it comes out, tomorrow. Otherwise, Tuesday. However,
what else is happening on Tuesday, Tyler?
The big one, and people have been pushing me so fucking hard to get and start playing this game again. World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth, the new expansion is coming out on Monday, specifically at 6 p.m. And then, it'll be officially ready for everybody on Tuesday, which is, August 14th. However, I've been talked to so much about it. I get to talk to the same people over and over again. They've been playing World of Warcraft passionately. They're like, please, you should try this game. You're going to be able to enjoy it. There's so much new stuff you can do. And it's like, if I do that, I got to give up everything else. Everything. Like, this is the Destiny 2 plus some. I'm just like, Destiny 2, I feel like you can walk away and play like a different shooter or something like that. I'm not going to go and play a different MMO if I play World of Warcraft. That is going to be it.
Mm-hmm. Funnily enough, you having said that, it's not about me playing a different shooter specifically. It's like I can't play a different shooter. There's nothing that feels like Destiny 2, but there's nothing for me to do. Well, there was nothing for me to do.
But you play Overwatch and then Fortnite.
Yeah, but like in smaller doses as compared to Destiny.
Well, I mean, just me. Like, I don't think I could play Persona or anything like that.
No, but I understand what you mean. Yeah. I guess I get.
Like, that is the ultimate, like, I got to keep playing if I want to progress. Otherwise, like, I'm wasting time. I'm wasting money.
Yeah, in the full swing of things, I don't touch anything else usually. Yeah.
But it's in my thoughts. If one of you decided to say, "Hey, we should try this together," both of you shaking hands vigorously. No. I love how I immediately went from like, "I'm the victim here. Please stop, scaring me." Also, devil form.
But if you wanna
do this, we can go into the hole together.
God no. I mean, like I would like to, but God no.
I would
not even like to.
It's funny because the guy is like, just play it for a week. and then you says to report about how it's going. It's like, you can't do that.
You play it for a week and then all of a sudden it's 2022 and you can't do anything else with your life.
Yep. And I look down and I'm already up to my nipples in freaking quicksand. It's like it sucked me in. How am I supposed to get? What am I supposed to do now? I'm sinking. Good job. Yeah. It's like I would be like angry at my addiction at that point. But yes, it's coming out this Tuesday for those interested.
Fun.
Just one smaller note about Doom Eternal again. It's not releasing anytime soon, but when it does release, it's going to be on PC, Xbox One, PS4, and the Switch.
Hey, that's good.
That's awesome. Okay, so wrap up, plugs, housekeeping, anything we can talk about here. You can email us like Los at casualmasterquest@gmail.com. I will say that is the only way you can email us at. You can find other emails. We might not respond to it. Please don't do that. However, you can also hit us up on Twitter at MasterQuestPod. All podcasts and gaming can be found everywhere now instead of just our YouTube channel because things have been happening. However, if you want to look at our YouTube channel, we'll constantly post about it on the Twitter, so that's a good way of finding it. Or you can just go to YouTube and search for Casual Master Quest, because that's there too. Cam, where can we find you for all your streaming services as well as your other podcast?
You can find me on Twitter at CamCollects. That's my preferred social media. I use it every day. Feel free to drop me a line, DM me. I love talking to people about games. In terms of that, I stream twice a week, once Monday night, 7 p.m. EST, and then also Friday at 6 p.m. EST. That's twitch.tv/CamCollects. On Monday, White 2, randomized Nuzlocke for Pokemon. On Friday, Prism, blind Nuzlocke for Pokemon. And then whatever I'm working on for review purposes at the end of that as a bonus stream. In terms of my other podcasts, you can check that out at intothevideogame.com. And that's if you want to get a more meta industry narrative going on type thing. It's less about the games themselves and more about the trends of the industry, the data, and that sort of thing. So if you want to check that out, that's intothevideogame.com. And that's me.
That's nice. Nick, your turn.
You can find me on Twitter at LRWarrior11. You can also find me on Instagram at LRWarrior11.
Hey! Ooh, Instagram
shout out.
Official
Instagram guy.
Instagram.
No, it's my Instagram. It's not a CMQ Instagram. Beautiful pictures of my beard with a bunch of snow in it. That's all I ever do. You can also find me on my Twitch at twitch.tv/LRWarrior11. In a couple of weeks, I will actually have a schedule set up properly because I'm almost done with my finals. I have a new semester coming, so lots of scheduling happening there. That's it. You can also find me at my free camps. Oh wait, that's the wrong. Not here. Okay, my bad.
There's a joke here that I completely missed. I'll ask you about this.
My free camps is my free camps is a cam girl site.
I thought it was free cams.
You can find me on my free cams.
Wait, they don't have free cams there? No fair. That's
I
right.
know, right? I'm gonna say I already scored one.
No, it's misleading. I found the website one day. And I'm like, wait, is this cam? And I went to it, and all I found was naked girls run
That's
all over the place, and it wasn't.
That's stupid.
Kind of
about that. Yeah.
Oh my lord, guys!
You could have had Vita discussion. Instead, you got naked girls.
Yeah,
or it was better Wii U. Come on.
At least give me 2D girls.
Yeah, fair.
So we got Cam at Cam Collects, all one word. Twitch.tv/Cam Collects. And then into the video games, Nick is at LR Warrior 11, left right Warrior 11. Also on Twitch.tv/LR Warrior 11. I just want to say as clear as I can because this stuff is important. You want to watch us, and of course, maybe not the most important, but of course, I am egotistical to think so. I am now no longer on YouTube.
How humble of you!
Yeah, I know, right? I'm no longer on YouTube through Casual Master Quest. I pulled up my old dredged Twitch account, and I am now on twitch.tv/2timestyler, where I will be streaming anytime I'm out of work on Friday for at least 2 hours. Hopefully later, up until 8 p.m. at the latest, but we'll see what happens because I like to get on Cam's stream and then bug him for a while. And I will be streaming Zelda games. That is my only passion. I realize I have the most fun. I may occasionally be streaming horror games if the call comes to it. But honestly, I don't think anybody wants to watch me play horror games because no one enjoys doing that for some reason anymore.
I mean, I heard a scream. You were playing WindWaker earlier, and I heard a scream from my kitchen, and there was a readout on screen, so that might be pretty entertaining.
So you said that was yesterday or this morning?
No, this morning.
Ooh, so I wonder, was that from the Redead?
I think so. I was in my kitchen and I heard you scream, and then I looked over and there was a Redead on screen.
Ah, okay, that would make sense.
And I was like, huh.
He was trying to intimidate me, and I was trying
remember that scared the fuck out of me.
No, it wasn't that scream. I was sitting down for that one. The one that you said scared you. There was one beforehand, too.
There was one more?
Oh, my screams. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so, and also on Twitter at 2timestyler, all one word. Same thing for Twitch. Anyways, that was Nick, that was Cam, that was myself. That was all the video games we could possibly talk about. Actually, that's not true, but we don't want to, get too crazy here. I know, right? One figure up, but just one more.
Actually,
we will see you next week. We're going to start discussing the possibility of trying to strap Nick down and maybe start to interrogate him about his little story.
True.
His little big story. Don't worry.
Yep.
But we'll talk about that later. I was starting like, is there anything else? Oh man, no, that's it. Leaving the peaceful mind. I'm gonna ask people on Twitter. You can contact me any way you can on either my mine or Casual Master Quest about Operation Nightclub. If that was okay, did we go over did we go just bat fucking crazy to it, or are we okay with doing this halfway through, or all of it? Maybe we'll see. Yeah. Anyways, that's it. That was episode number 14, and don't forget to never stop the grind. We'll see you guys later.
Bye. Bye.
Love you.
Love you.
Find more of our work by searching for Casual Master Quest on iTunes, Google Play, and other podcast players. Check out what we'll be doing next week on Twitter at MasterQuestPod.